The Zed to Zed Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Zed to Zed Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freem, and thank you so much for listening. At Zed to Zed, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. This is the last normal recording for the 2016 year. This episode is a doozy. Our game recaps are significant, the community events are plentiful, and our listener feedback is just glorious. We also break down our highlights and lowlights from 2016. Should be a fantastic show. You can find show notes for this show, as well as previous shows, on our website, zed2zed.com. This is episode 53. You can also contact us with questions and comments on Twitter, at Zed2Zed, our forums, forum.zed2zed.com, or email us directly, contact@zed2zed.com. Today's show is brought to you by the achievement Ultimate Christmas from the game Plague Inc. Evolved. This is yet another Plague Inc. achievement. I just love these. And this one has you begin with the Santa's Little Helper disease on any difficulty. You want to save up about 40 to 60 DNA points, and you can unlock this in about 2 minutes or so. Firstly, unlock the first 2 symptoms to open up the plane, like airplane, abilities. You unlock all of the plane abilities to get the Red-Nosed Guide unlocked and the Red-Suited Pilot unlocked for your disease. Finally, you want to unlock Digital Elf, and you will get a message that pops up in a little bit that says, Ultimate Christmas Combo! Santa and Rudolph pose for photographs with small children, giving them the ultimate Christmas. Increased infectivity and happiness. But most of all, the new Rare Achievement Sounder, which drives me nuts, by the way, but achievement nonetheless. Special thanks to developer and publisher Endemic Creations, and we hope you have a safe and wonderful holiday season. And if you, our fantastic listeners, have a suggestion for an achievement sponsor, let us know. Again, you can contact us at Twitter, at Zed2Zed, Zedtozed. You can come chat with us over at Discord, discord.me/Zed2Zed, all one word. There's that email address, contact@zed2zed.com, or you could even leave it in a podcast review post. Tripping over my words here. Well, I better bring in some help then. Here are my co-hosts for tonight. All right, everybody, and welcome to the show. We've got a wonderful... This is our last actual recording of 2016. Although, I promise you, we will still have shows. They'll just be a collection of awesome things that we put together, but they'll be new and great and awesome content, and you'll love it. But for this episode, we're going to kind of put a bow on 2016, and to help me with that, I've got my normal selection of co-hosts here. We've got Tarragon. How are you doing, sir?
I dispute being called normal. But I am actually not great. I've got a bad case of sunburn, believe it or not. And I've been pretty kind of ill because of it.
I'm not going to lie to you. When I read your little quote about we had a Christmas party and I think I've got sunstroke from getting sunburned, I'm like, that doesn't compute for me. I don't see the sun in the entire month of December. And so the fact that, and then, obviously you guys have summer down there, and it's like, man, that's just weird. Conceptually, it blows my mind.
So I was sitting on the back of a boat for about 3 hours, and it was only like mid-20s, I think, the temperature, which is what equates to about 70 Fahrenheit or something. So it wasn't really that hot, and it was like cold with the wind blowing over the water and stuff, and somehow I managed to get baked. So, I was not feeling well on the way back.
And you got a sunburned. Hey-o!
Yep.
That's a drug reference. Speaking of drugs, we've got Prue with us. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I don't even know what that means. Yeah, where are we going with that one?
Hey, well, we'll talk about it when we talk about what happened last night. I assure you, you're on drugs.
Okay, I'm doing great. Just as good as I was. Well, not just as good as I was last night, but I guess maybe we'll find out why later.
Last night was a real treat, and of course, we've got Crandy with us. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, come on.
Of course, it's Christmas, right?
Come on.
Humbug. What a Grinch.
And his rainy heart grew 3 times. 3 times the size, 3 sizes that day.
I haven't got up the little tiny Christmas tree from the closet yet. I should probably do that.
You celebrating Festivus over there? Or?
I was going to say, isn't that mistletoe?
No, it's just a little mini Christmas tree. It's just a little one.
Is it one of those Charlie Brown ones?
So it's not like a
Oh,
pole.
like a metal one.
No.
It's just a pole.
Someone said those aluminum Christmas trees are making a comeback.
What aluminum
Anybody?
Christmas trees?
Anybody?
What are
That
those?
must
Like
be
the one-
is that like
like
a
the one-
90s thing?
The one from
Oh,
Charlie Brown
Cranny Beat all
Christmas.
over
No, that
that.
was like in the 50s.
Yeah, that's much older than that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there like
50s
some
and
90s Christmas tree thing that sort of Crandy should be all over because it's like a 90s thing?
I think they all are highly flammable, and they probably all burned up like flash powder.
Are these white ones?
No, they're definitely silver. The white ones came after. I think.
Okay, well, silvery white.
Hang on, flammable? So that's like magnesium or something.
Yeah. Oh my God. So, and I will never forget this, but it was like one of those kind of watchdog groups that was like playing around with kids' toys, and they're like, "This is how dangerous kids' toys are," or whatever. And so they took a bunch of toys, and they're like, "Check a look at this," and they had like an air gun, right, that shot darts or whatever, and they said, "Yeah, the designers didn't realize this is a perfect size for a pencil," and they put a sharpened pencil in the end of it and impaled a pumpkin. And I was like, "Oh my God, that's awesome! I'm so glad you showed me that. I gotta go find that." And then they did one with they had like, this was back when Barney was popular, and so they had like a Barney sleeping bag, and they were hanging the sleeping bag from clothesline. And they're like, I don't know what they painted this with, and they lit a match and started it on fire, and it went up like whoosh, like it was just gone. Within 3 seconds, the whole thing was torched. It was just nothing. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. You've got these fire bombs.
Doing that as your job? Like you just go to the store and you're like, yeah, I think we're going to light this on fire.
Yeah, I think this can be dangerous.
This might be dangerous. Like we're going to have to buy one of these and then light it on fire. You're there with your buddies, like, yeah, that's a good idea.
It reminds me of that SNL Christmas special with Dan Aykroyd, where he's like, "Yeah, I mean, come on, it's safe, fun toys for kids, right? It's a bag full of broken glass. What are kids gonna love that? What is this harmless little guy, right? I mean, his name is Johnny Switchblade. So you push this little button and these little knives stick out. I mean, that's fun. Kids love it." Like, that's just brilliant.
So wrong.
It's just brilliant. I love it. So, okay. Christmas fun aside, let's just quick run down all the cool stuff we have going on in the community. I am so happy with all the feedback we've gotten from the community. It's like this renaissance of people coming and visiting and speaking their mind and talking about everything they like about this. It's awesome, and we want to continue to encourage everyone to just get involved. We've got so many contests. We've of course got our club, our Z to Z club on Xbox, continually climbing. And all the challenges. And by the time this comes out, I mean, we can start thinking about the January challenges. Of course, December is going to wrap up. We've got Prue and Dead by Lead 2 as our gamer tags for the month of December. January is going to be Redemption Denied, coming off of his massive GTA SC. Did he end up winning?
Yeah, he did.
Insanity.
Yeah, he dropped something like I think 8,000 TA in the last hour or something like that to pull ahead. So yeah, he certainly came back from behind. He was behind pretty much all week, I think, and nailed it at the end. So yeah, congratulations to Redemption, and also his team absolutely stormed the team comp, which was surprising.
Who was the runner up then in GTA SE individual? Because he put up a hell of a fight. I was astonished with how cool that final match was.
That was really good. I'll look it up. Just give me a sec.
We'll give him credit too, man. Oh, I have never seen a competition like as cool as that ending was. As long as the GTSC has been in business, like that has been the best, because it was such a massive point climb, and the fact that two people were going at it so close back and forth, you just didn't know. And even I remember we were gaming on Saturday night, and we kept checking the thing, and it was like, oh, he's like 1,000 behind, or look, they're still going, and there's like 3 hours left. I mean, that thing went to the wire. It was very cool.
Certainly did, yeah. I can't actually look up the lists because they've taken the links off the community page, so I have to go digging
a little deeper into the forums. I'll move on to other things.
But just on the GTASC, sign-ups for GTASC 2017 are obviously going already. and even though I said I wasn't going to be joining, I apparently am joining. So yeah, and I just wanted to note there's one of the members, Chin Doctor. He was actually in a team, and he's actually just decided to leave it because they're getting a little bit too serious in that they've already got a spreadsheet out working out what kind of totals they want for every week in GTSC. That's just like,
oh my
come on,
goodness.
Like seriously?
Yeah,
anyway,
the opposite of casual.
I've been recruited. See, you know,
I'd heard that.
Say, you know, I don't do GTSC, I don't, whatever. But I did have, both this year and last year, I kind of had an open thing saying, I don't do GTSC because I don't like to be told how to play my games. But if somebody wants my points, because I play games all week, I mean, I put up a reasonable amount of score just about every week. And if somebody wants those points, they're welcome to them. But I'm not going to actively participate. So I'm not going to go out of my way to do badges or challenges or whatever, unless it's like get an odd score or something where I just pop one extra achievement. I don't care. And I'm not going to try to win, but you know, if you as a team want that, you can have it. So there was already kind of some discussion with Warren and Damien. So I got picked up by their team this year.
3-man squads, 5-man. What is
five man? Yeah.
We've got 4 so far, so I assume we're going to pick up another one at some point. But
hey, and anybody in the Z to Z community, hey, you know, if you want to throw a Z to Z in your name, or if you just want us to follow you, and we'll have a kind of a running thing on the show. We can have touch bases with how teams are doing. We'll track them. You know, anybody who's in the community, active in the community, and wants to be watched, you know, we'll gladly throw your team on there, and you know, maybe have a mention here or there if anything cool happens. But let us know. For sure. You know, for sure.
For sure. I've found the number 2. It was Nutty Ray, which is NUTTYWRAY, who put on 128,464 true achievement points for that week.
Goodness gracious!
Wow. Redemption
Hats
got
off to both you guys.
139,936 by the end. So
Jeez Louise, that is insanity.
And
pure insanity.
Nutty Ray actually, I think, is the amount of gamer score he put on that week is actually more than my total for the year at the moment. So it's 65,899.
What was the total again?
Which one? Of gamer score?
The TA score.
Well, Redemption and I got 139,936 for the week, and Nutty Ray got 128,464.
Wow. Both of them topped my TA score so far this year also. I've got 126,666 TA this year.
Man, that's
crazy.
Yeah. That's totally crazy.
In a week.
Yep.
A week. That's crazy.
That's pretty darn awesome. The monthly challenges. So we're doing our normal game series type thing. We've got Gears of War wrapping up here. There's still a few sessions going on. Feel free to get into those before the end of the month and continue after the month. I mean, don't make us stop you from boosting anything. But we'll be moving into Disney Infinity come January, and then after January, I'm gonna kind of mix it up a little bit. We'll throw the occasional game series in there, but I'm gonna start. Because I don't want everyone to get contest overload, right? I tend to do that. I get really excited about ideas. And so instead of, we'll have kind of a monthly contest, and it might just be, the game series thing like we've been doing, or in February, I've got one. It's called Love and Hearts. I will get into details about what that means when it's February.
It's going to be all visual novels, isn't it?
There you go. Everything in Japanese, so good luck. No, but...
Hey, speaking of which, a Japanese visual novel has finally made it to backwards compatibility. Don't know if
I saw that. Do you have a digital version of that? Can I play that?
Don't know if there is a digital version of that. Clannad
there
is the name. There is.
That one is one of the only ones that has a digital version.
And I bet that's why it's actually one of the first ones to come out, because I know that they had trouble with Lost Odyssey and they had to make a digital release of that. To get it.
That's right. That's my thinking too. That it's still here. People can buy it. Makes it a lot easier and more compelling to make it backwards
more accessible.
compatible.
And it's probably just easier for the team to work with as well. But
and so people can buy it. That's true
too, I suppose. That is true. But yeah, now everybody can play it without a Japanese console. Woohoo!
Hooray! Is it in Japanese? I mean, do I need a translator?
Yes, it is very in Japanese.
Yep, it's entirely Japanese. In fact, yeah, it's basically go to the walkthrough and just follow that. Don't even read anything.
Click on choice 3, click on choice 4, click on choice 2.
Yep.
Gotcha.
That's
Basically, you do that for 5 to 6 hours and you've got 1,000 points.
Yep. Welcome to visual novels.
Fantastic. There it is.
That's visual novels. I played my first visual novel this week. I'd never played one before until this week.
Really?
Yeah.
And we're not considering Telltale stuff visual novels because you actually do something in those?
That's true. I would consider them a visual novel because I think they're much more of a visual novel than a point and click. But in games on TA classified as visual novel, this is the first visual novel that I've played. This is the first Japanese visual novel, put it that way. Telltale is an American visual novel. These visual novels, air quotes, are Japanese visual novels.
I wouldn't quite classify Telltales as a visual novel just because they do have that point-and-click element and you do have to make certain kind of actions and solve some things. Things like 3/4 Home, that's a pure visual novel in that sense, as in there's not a lot of real interaction. So anyway.
That's a good point. I could go... I don't like to classify Telltale, games like Telltale and Life is Strange as point-and-click because point-and-click... to me, implies a game like Artifex Mundi, where it is a static or almost static screen where you just interact with stuff. Then, maybe it'll play a little thing. But Telltale is mostly watching. There's not a lot of interacting. So I would put those in like just pure adventure, not action adventure, just adventure. But I don't like that they're classified as point and clicks.
Yeah, genres.
I haven't liked for a long time.
Genres, not subjective at all.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. We've, of course, got the random to-do list going on. We've got 109 contestants so far for December. Over 400 achievements between all of them. So continue chipping away this month. And again, if you're hearing this for the first time and you want to be a part of it, you can sign up at any time. There's you can get a list, and then on January 1st, you'll get a new one. And on February 1st, you'll get a new one.
I'll just put a caveat on that. I'm actually going to be away on holiday from the 27th through to the 1st, so the new lists may not go up immediately on the 1st, just because I may not be back in time. But we'll see. I'll try and get them up as soon as I can, but it may be a bit late.
We know you're good for it.
Sir, how dare you? No, I'm kidding.
We know you're good for it. We also have our ZZ boosting groups going up. And so there's a lot of, of course, we've been talking about our Titanfall group. I've been talking about my Gears of War crew on Tuesday nights. And of course, you guys got your Rock Band Rivals thing going on. Actually, all of those have chat rooms as well, so you can kind of coordinate in there. Then that's open to everybody, right? So if you're getting a separate Titanfall session going, I know the UK session is going on. Go ahead and use that chat room and talk about how you're setting up, what you guys are doing that week. That's why they're there, right? To help coordinate and keep it out of the main chat so that people who are interested can follow along. We've got, my Gears session is wrapping up. I don't know if we're going to end up closing that chat room down, or if there's other people using it, we'll leave it up. But just like your Syndicate one, right, Randy? Like once you finish your Syndicate thing, effectively we'll close that down. I don't think there's other people doing it.
There's no need to keep it there. If another group wants to play Syndicate, we can. One of us is usually always in the chat room. We can just make a new room.
Yeah, we can set stuff up real quick.
There's no need to keep it around long term because I don't think anybody else is going to play Syndicate anytime soon.
Yeah, so we should probably close those off. I'd actually suggest just in future we set up a bit of a convention and have like an acronym, just some kind of prefix for those, so they all come up next to each other, like just boost _ and then the name of the game. And
that's a good idea.
So that way they appear as a list, and we can just close them down as they need to be. So.
There you go. So when you'll see that new naming convention when we figure out what we're going to be playing with me on Tuesday nights coming up in January. I posted in the forums, still looking for feedback. Kind of a mixed bag right now. We've got a bunch of people interested in Destiny, a bunch of people interested in Battleborn, especially since it was like $10 this week. It was like $8 this week at Best Buy. So dirt cheap. And I'm throwing the Division in there too. So of those three, we'll figure something out for Tuesdays. And to be honest, we can move it around. We can switch games up every week if you wanted. I don't really care. But I do want to get into those and continue unlocking achievements. There's always work to be done in Destiny. Battleborn will be fresh for me, and I want to clean that thing up. And, of course, Division will be fresh, too. So if anybody out there is interested, get onto the forums, throw your name in there. We'll try and put some teams, some groups together. For me, it's 10 p.m. Central Time on Tuesdays for a couple of hours. But that doesn't preclude anyone from setting up other things. I know Matism said, Tuesdays work for him, too. He might do a separate Destiny group on his own. So go to the forums. Let us know what you guys want to be playing. What if any of those fit in with your needs, and then we'll set up a little chat room for whatever we end up deciding. That is in the future. What we did recently just set up as a chat room is the haiku room. We had so much fun with haikus in our Titanfall session last night that I was pressured and willingly, despite being pressured, set up the haiku room, and I am so happy I did. They're great. I don't know why you give me the groany sound, Tarragon, because the haikus are awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rain on this too. I'm not a fan of poems of any kind.
Yeah, but
like the limericks
that's a given.
almost.
Are you a fan of anything, Randy?
They're clever.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't like. I don't like poetry either.
I like Syndicate.
Now, just say that as a haiku, and everything will be better.
Why don't you tell me about it, Randy? Tell me about your Syndicate gaming this week, or what else you've been playing.
Well, we had a very successful Syndicate run today. It started off a little rough because we were getting Mango and Prue leveled up a little bit. But now they have competent guns and they can help me kill stuff. So it's instead of me fighting everything, it's me fighting most things.
We get to shoot things now. We're allowed to kill the bad guys. So it's much better here.
See, you've graduated from pretending to kill the bad guys to actually killing a bad guy once in a while. So it was a lot of fun. We're probably 2 to 3 hours off of the completion. We got most of the hardest levels done today, which is nice. So we lots of frustration from the guys with stun guns that stun me in place and just make everything take too long. And
so
they're done.
You say we had a rough start. Just to clarify what that means, that we played the same level over and over again for the first 3 hours of the session.
We played it for 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah, okay.
2 hours, and then we cleared 4 levels in an hour after that. Well, it's because we kept dying. So we got to a checkpoint, and the level was harder than I anticipated and harder than I remembered. Also, I'm pretty sure that somewhere along like the last time I played Syndicate and this time playing Syndicate, something in my head was like, I can totally beat that game by myself on co-op. That's totally changed. I do not think I can beat that game solo on co-op anymore. I could probably do half of it, but there are a couple of levels that I just don't think would be possible. It's just for a couple of reasons. I won't get into the details, but unfortunately, don't think it'll happen. So, oh well. But yeah, it was fun. Probably finish it up this weekend, hopefully. We're going to try for Saturday or Sunday. And then, other than Syndicate, I have mostly been working on my completion challenge, which I'm now, as of right now, I'm 4 days ahead of schedule, which puts me at 20 completions. As of tonight, I have 20 completions this month, and I will list off all of the games that I completed this week.
Jeez.
So I completed Gears of War, completed Enigmatis 2, Golden Axe, Cubot, Energy Cycle, Gone Home, Banjo-Tooie, Memories Off 6, Next Relation, Daytona USA, Pac-Man Championship Edition, Pac-Man Championship Edition Deluxe, Doom, and NCAA Basketball 09 March Madness Edition. So can mostly leave. I'll briefly summarize. Gears of War finished seriously, and this is Annex, and then a couple other miscellaneous ones. And I was missing 3 cog tags in campaign. I had to replay the entire campaign to find those 3 because, well, I didn't replay the whole thing, but I did chapters. Turns out it was in the last 2 or 3 chapters that I tried. So I ended up doing like 27 extra cog tags, or finding them. Enigmatis 2, just cleaned it up. Golden Axe has not aged well. Finished that. Very short. It's much shorter than I remember it being. Still hasn't aged well. It was okay. It was easy. Cuba.
I guess it's a bit too old for you. So anything from the 80s is too aged.
Well, I don't know. I find that most beat 'em ups have not aged particularly well. They're just generally pretty clunky. I mean, there are a few, like, I really like the Simpsons arcade. I think that one, it's clunky. It's still clunky, but it's like less clunky. I can't think of them off the top of my head. There are a couple other ones that I feel like have aged a lot better than Golden. I mean, I recognize Golden Axe for kind of what it was at the time. I mean, I'm sure those graphics were like, whoa.
No,
like,
not really.
What is this?
It was just an awesome game at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, it plays well with more people.
Yeah. So Qbot, easy, way easier than I thought it was going to be. Energy cycle.
Did you actually like look at it, or did you just look at the guide and move the stick?
Yeah, it was both. I mean, I looked at it and some of the harder ones just to make sure that all my moves were registering, but I was mostly just looking at the guide and putting in the things. Energy cycle is not a good game. Very easy.
You don't like changing colors on circles?
Whopping 18 minutes. Yeah, no, that is not a good. I don't even think that would be like, even at the price of like $4, I don't think that would be worth it on mobile even.
No.
But hey, that is a real easy 1,000 points on that one. And now one that I ended up spending
just on, price to time to gamer score, it's probably the most it's probably the best value.
Oh yeah,
it gets right down to it.
Oh no, it's good. It's good value
because Avatar still costs you like $20 or $25 or something.
Yeah,
it's still...
you'd probably be lucky to get Avatar for $20. It's at least over here. I don't know. Maybe it's cheaper, easier to find over there, but I rarely see them around. Not that I really look much anymore.
I think I actually had to import mine. I got mine for $25 US.
Yeah,
so that's pretty good. I could not find it locally.
So yeah, Gone Home kind of interested me just with the kind of story-driven type of game. I didn't really know a lot about it until I've been filtering games by like on TA. I just go to all games and then I put in games I haven't played and then sort by completion time. And so Gone Home was one of the ones I had access to and hadn't played. I didn't really know anything about it. Did
you go through a walkthrough, or did you just play it through naturally the first time?
So kind of both. So I was, looking at getting all the achievements, and then it kind of drew me in a little bit, and I ended up spending an extra 6 hours or something on it, just kind of, I want to say, trying to enjoy it. Well, maybe not 6 hours. I probably spent 4 hours on it. I really wanted to like it, but it just felt lacking. Like the house was so good. The house was so detailed, but the story was like, I don't know, like it didn't feel like there was enough substance there.
Well,
so
that's a shame. I really found the story in that was actually what drove it. You kind of go into the house thinking it's kind of spooky. What's going on? There's nobody here. Am I going to get jump scares? And then you go through, and the story really kind of drew me in and was a bit of a tugged on the heartstrings. So yeah, I guess
yeah. And
the thing is, you don't.
I mean, what's there was all right, but it's just like, I don't know. It felt really, really short. And I don't know, maybe that's intentional, but I don't know. I really tried to really like it, but I couldn't. mean, I enjoyed it. I don't regret spending time with it, but I think I would have, if I had paid the full $20 for it, I probably would have been disappointed. More disappointed.
Yeah, I was gonna, can you get more disappointed? I mean, like,
I think the levels of disappointment for Crandy are endless. It is a well that cannot run. It's a well that cannot run dry.
It's a yes. There's a large range of disappointment. I finished up Banjo-Tooie, which took way longer than I thought it was going to. I forgot that you need 70 jiggies out of the 90 or 100 that are available to get to the final boss, which is the last achievement. So spent a lot of time on that. It's still super fun, and I was really satisfied because I remembered on N64, I played a lot of Banjo-Tooie, a lot past getting the final boss, trying to get all the jiggies. I never did. But there was one in particular that I remembered. It was the second race, I guess the third and fourth races, against Canary Mary. The one in Cloud Cuckoo Land.
Mm-hmm.
I could never beat it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was or why, but I could not mash the button fast enough to win on that second one. And I did first try. I was really happy about it.
That's tough.
So that was like, when I got there, that was the first thing I did. I was like, I'm beating this. Gotta do it. So then
that whole level's tough.
Yeah, I got all 10 on there. It was a lot easier than I remembered it. I was using I found a PDF of the strategy guide, and I was using that because I didn't want to just wander around forever, which is fun, but I also want to complete the game. So I was doing that, and that helped a lot. I could never figure out the Jelly Castle.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which turns out is like the easiest one in that level, and for some reason I could never figure out how to do it, but I did get that one. I got all 10. So that was fun. Really enjoy Banjo-Tooie, as I think I mentioned before. Great game. Aged super, super well. I feel like if that came out today, it would just in its current state, it would be fantastic.
Ukulele.
It's coming, ukulele.
We'll see. Yeah, physical version of ukulele is the same price as the digital version.
Yes,
collectors
so
out there, and it comes out on the same day, so you can get it on the same day for the same price if you want it on disc. And it probably is going to have an instruction manual.
Did we do a review, Zed, on Freeze Me?
Don't think so.
That game came out a little bit. I know, Tarragon, you picked it up. So I was watching some gameplay of that. That is very reminiscent of old 3D Mario and Banjo and those types of 3D platformers. Yeah. It isn't Ginger the one you guys just did?
Yes. Yep. That also had that same.
Well, I didn't do Ginger, but
yeah. So I mean, if you're really itching for those collectathons, you got Ginger and you have Freeze Me, are both very. I mean, Freeze Me is so much a ripoff of Mario. I can't remember which one it was. Anyway, Super Mario, the first 3D one. It's
64.
64.
I feel like it was the next one.
That would have been
Sunshine. Galaxy?
Sunshine.
Sunshine was terrible.
It was not awful. No way.
It was an awful game.
Oh, that's not true.
Reminds me of Sunshine,
I am not
but
the
there's
only
none of
one
that.
that thinks that.
There's none of that flood garbage.
Yeah, Flood was kind of nonsense, but they had those amazing challenge levels. Anyway, we're getting off topic, but Sunshine was not a bad game.
Check it out. Freeze Me.
Yes, it was.
I think that might be right up your alley, Crandy.
So next, Memories Off 6, Next Relation. First Japanese visual novel. It was easy-ish. It's kind of annoying. Nice, quick completion. Daytona USA, I enjoyed way too much. It was just all of the tacky, goofy things from 90s CD-ROM games were in that game. There was a rockin' 90s soundtrack with bad lyrics that are all kind of crackly because it's not really the system at the time couldn't really handle it, but they wanted to put them in there anyway. And the wheels are pentagons because they're not round on the cars, and it has really, really bad splash screens with weird filters on it. It was fantastic. I loved it. Also, very easy completion. That was like 40 minutes.
So the question is, did it age well?
It did.
Okay.
Like a fine cheese.
I mean, it's not like... This only got like 3 levels, but I mean, it plays fine. Like, it's not... The only thing that was weird is there's no reverse, at least not that I could figure out. So to turn around, you have to just like pull a U-turn, even if you're like in a wall. So
just keep driving hard at that wall and steer to the left.
Yeah. It's not usually an issue, but there's one achievement where you have to drive to this dead end. And so I was trying to get out of this dead end, and I'm like, how do I reverse? No, you don't. You just turn. And eventually you get out of the dead end. So that was kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe I pushed every button on the controller that I could think of, so that was weird. It was fun, though. I enjoyed it. Pac-Man Championship Edition Deluxe, I did that one for the 5th time. And then I also played Pac-Man Championship Edition, which I was expecting to be almost the same as Deluxe, but it's actually much harder. It plays a lot more like classic Pac-Man, in that the ghosts are actually a real hazard. So that took a little bit of learning, took a couple hours longer than the deluxe version, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Doom. So I went back to Doom finally. I got reluctantly, grumblingly bought the season pass for Doom when it was on sale.
Do you do anything not grumblingly though? It's like saying...
Not usually involving DLC.
Okay.
Not usually. Very rarely. So yeah, I got the season pass.
I just have this image of you like masochistically punching yourself when you're buying DLC. Like, God,
dude, that's
you
like
hate yourself.
Really, like,
what's wrong with you, Randy?
In my mind, it's like that though. I'm like, I hate this. I have to buy it to get my stupid completion, and I hate it.
So against my principles. Oh.
Your stomach is turning over as you're holding down the desire to just retch.
How will I ever live with myself?
I just wish... Like, I was like, man, like, then there's no way I can get this used so they don't get any of my money. Because that's the thing, is like, I just don't want to support their stupid, ridiculously overpriced, horrible season pass. It's like, I don't care if I have to pay more for it, just as long as they don't get the money. I mean, I know they kind of indirectly do, even if it's physical. But if it's like, you know, somebody bought it at launch, or like it's like a wholesaler or something, it's like they get less. Like every kind of middleman, they get less. So it's been through a couple people. You know, maybe one wholesaler bought it from another one. They get less of it. So unfortunately, they got my money. But it was 40% off. And I think that's as cheap as it's going to get for the foreseeable future. So horrible. Just awful.
I would never have picked that.
Yeah. So, yes. 3 map packs. I don't know what maps were the DLC maps, or even if I played any of the DLC maps. I have no idea. Because I assume nobody else has it, but I don't know. There were some people playing as DLC demons, so maybe they do. I don't know. The multiplayer is totally dead, and I didn't notice it so much at first, but particularly in some of the other objective-based game modes, like Team Deathmatch isn't so bad, but, well, now what they've done too is there's just team mode and there's just solo mode. So team mode consists of all the different team games, all the different objective games, all the different deathmatch games. So you can't just go in and say, I want to play Team Deathmatch. You got to play like 7 objective games to get to a Team Deathmatch again, because... you know, can't have more than 2 playlists. And the same with free for all, but there's only 3 free for all modes. I don't think there's any demons in free for all, so I did not play any of that, because the thing that makes this DLC horrible to complete is you need to get 10 kills with each of the 3 new demons. And the demon playtime distribution is horribly unfairly distributed. So the demon rune will just randomly spawn on the map in deathmatch, which is annoying. It warns you 5 seconds in advance, but at least you kind of have a chance to get some demon time. So with that one, you get 60 seconds or until you die. Then there are a few other modes where you have to like kill the demon or just be kind of lucky and happen to be in the area. But what ends up happening is there's like 2 guys that are the demon the entire game. You play 6 matches, and don't get to play as the demon. And when you do, you just die, or the match ends. So probably took me 6 or 8 hours to finish the 3 DLC packs that consisted of getting 10 kills with a new weapon, 10 kills with a demon, basically. I like the multiplayer, but it was not fun playing. I wasn't playing the multiplayer. I was playing Chase the Demon Rune.
Yeah.
So, not fun. Not
I didn't
good
care
achievement
for the
choices. I really like the multiplayer. I like deathmatch. I don't like objective.
Yeah. I mean, did you like Quake though back in the day?
I didn't really play Quake back in the day. I played some Quake. What do they call it? Quake Live. It's Quake 3 online. But yeah, no, I really enjoy those type of shooters, even though they've kind of died off. And that's what I really liked about it, is it was very much like that. I mean, maybe kind of a little Halo-y, but generally played like an arena shooter. But I like deathmatch. I don't like the objective games that much. So that,
which I'm the exact opposite. I'd much rather an objective game.
And that's what was disappointing about this new playlist style too, is you can't just pick deathmatch. I mean, even if it was just deathmatch and objective, that would be nice.
Yeah, I wonder if that's about population, though. They kind of get to a point where you have such a low population of gamers that some game modes will just never, ever get played. And particularly if you have achievements tied to those, that can be rather frustrating.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is they don't have achievements tied to any game modes, just game modes that have demons in them, which is like 50-50. So that's the other thing that made it frustrating, is like, there's only one match going on. You cannot get into another match. You know, maybe there's 2. And there's like a 50-50 chance that is a game mode that does not have demons in it. So not only do you have to get the chance to be a demon, you have to be in a game mode that has them in the first place.
Sounds like a candidate for boosting.
Yes, but it's a little too populated for boosting.
I just gotta wait on it.
You might be able to get like 2 parties of 6. If you had 12 people, you might be able to do that, but I don't know. I could have boosted it, but it was like, it's annoying, but not annoying enough to like deal with coordinating a session and dealing with randoms and all. I just want to get it done. So it's done. Completed Doom. Was not happy with the premium DLC, but the arcade mode was a great addition, which was free DLC. 3 achievements. You can get them all in under an hour, but the arcade mode in general is, you're given a few lives to complete a campaign map, and there's kind of more pickups. There's a scoring system. There's some extra things. So it's even faster than the campaign, and it plays kind of arcadey with scores and high scores. That was a nice addition and better than the entire season pass combined. So I enjoyed that. Then NCAA Basketball 09 March Madness. Basketball game, you can complete it in an hour and a half. Perfect Dark Zero. So I'm making progress. I did the co-op.
Yes,
not the single player. So I got 4 levels left on single player. I finished level 7 today, which was super annoying because it forces you, particularly on single player, you can't really get away with just Ramboing it, as we called it. It's much less forgiving in that aspect, because you don't have somebody to watch your back. This is a level that is meant to be done stealthily, but the stealth mechanic in the game just doesn't really work. So you can stealth your way through, but chances are there's going to be someone that sees you from some impossible angle really far away, sounds the alarm, then you've got a million guys shooting at you. So just barely made it through that one today. I was very happy about that. So 4 levels left. I was in the zone a couple days ago. I think I did 5 or 6 levels that day, which I was not expecting. Then I got my first random to-do list achievement of the month in Mushihime-sama Futari version 1.5, which is a Japanese shoot-'em-up game that I will never complete. Although after playing it again, I'm feeling a little better about getting more achievements in it. I think I might be able to do the 1 credit clear on easy, but it's going to be tough. That's a tough game. I got my 1 achievement for getting my multiplier, maxing the multiplier, which it took me a few tries, but it's manageable. You can get it on the 2nd level and you can use continues. So It was fun. I really enjoy the game, but I do regret putting it on my tag because that's the one game on my tag that does not have discontinued achievements that I'm confident I will never complete. Unless somebody comes over to my house that's really good at it or somebody makes a macro. Those are going to be the only two ways, I think. And then the last game, Truth or Lies.
Such a classic.
Now, oh man. See, I've been making fun of this. I've been ripping on this game before I even played it forever because I always see it. It was everywhere. Like from like 2012 to 2014, like every store had 1 million of this game and it was like $1. So it was dirt cheap. It was everywhere and it's terrible. This is probably the worst game I've played all year. And
it's the end of the year too. I mean,
I know it's a weird coincidence, but I'm pretty sure it's the only game. Now, the only time I rate a game half a star on TA, there's a couple criteria, but it has to be really bad for me. I think I've only got like 6 or 7 out of the almost 400 games on my tag that I've given half a star. One, it's not a game like Bug Village. Bug Village is not a game. It's just not a game. Secrets and Treasures is another one, just because Are you
going to go through your whole criteria again? Because I think you've done this twice.
Okay. Anyway, it got half a star. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible game that doesn't work.
But it is a game. It just doesn't work.
It's questionable.
Have you actually got the lie yet?
It's picked up like, I don't know, my streak is like 25 truths. Like it just would not, like there was just this streak of not lies. Yeah. And like the walkthrough's like, oh, just try to lie. And it'll work. And I'm like, you'll get everything in like 3 rounds. I'm like, what are you talking about? No, you can't. Like, and the completion time is like 1 or 2 hours. That is no way anybody's completing this game in 1 or 2 hours. Like, I think
I completed it in about 2 hours.
Well, but then you put it on 2 to 3. Then you put it 2 to 3 hours.
Okay, well maybe it was 2 to 3, but it's less than 5.
Yeah,
but I think the last hour of that was trying to get the damn thing to register lies.
Yeah, that's all I have left. Well, there's one other achievement that's easy, but I was focusing on lying. I need to get 3 lies in a row on Hot Seat, which is the dumbest game mode I've ever seen. Like it is just a lie detector. Like there's no real questions. You're just like, it's just like, hey, give the microphone to some guy in the room and they'll ask you a question. And then you don't actually have to say anything in the microphone. It's just like, hey, person in the hot seat, what's your answer? And then it tells you whether it's a truth or a lie. And it's always a truth because it doesn't work. Horrible game.
That sounds terrible.
That's in my highs and lows. I'll get a little angry about that again. Terrible game. Still not complete. It's been incomplete on my tag for a few days. That was supposed to be completion number 16 or something, I think. And we'll see how that goes. It might end up being like Madden on my tag that just doesn't.
Get good, noob.
It made me want to break a controller. It made me, like, I haven't wanted to break a controller in years. And this game made me want to break a microphone, but same thing. Anyway, that's my very, very long recap.
I was going to say, Prue, I'd love to know what you played, but Randy took too long, so none of us have any time. We're going to wrap up the show. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Bye, everyone.
Jeez
Happy New
Year. All right, Prue, why don't you give it a shot?
I will.
All right, you're out of time.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks. I spent most of my time this week completing BioShock Infinite, since I played through both 1 and 2 for the collections. And then the DLC. So now
I'm really excited about this.
Yes, Randy finally has someone that he can do a spoiler cast on Burial at Sea. And now I know why he wants to so bad. It's very interesting, and there is a lot to talk about there. So maybe look forward to that coming up. I had played Infinite when it first came out, but never bothered to get the DLC. So it's nice that it's in that package now.
I bet.
Keeping going in Skyrim, I play that like an hour or two every other 3 days. I don't know. I love that game, but it's tough when I have all these other things that I'm trying to do.
What guild do you go to first? What's your go-to?
Oh, that's a tough question. My go-to
I haven't heard of that one before.
When I first play, I usually
sounds like
probably
the Dark Brotherhood.
No. That's actually one of the last ones that I do. It'll either be the Fighters or the Mage Guild. It's the companions in the Skyrim, but it's the same thing. So it's one of those two.
Gotcha. Just curious.
I was just wondering. That was a good question.
I typically always go Fighters Guild just to get my strength up, and then I figure out how to be stealthy for the Thieves Guild, and I usually save Mage to last. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I held off on doing the Thieves Guild and the Dark Brotherhood because I was still upping all my combat skills. And once I get to 100 on that stuff, I'll start working on the stealthy stuff as well. So, past that, I picked up and completed Energy Cycle as well because it was $4 and super easy. Not much to say there. You it's a grid of colored blobs, and you press the button and it changes, and then you're done. So that was
you
it.
Click. It tells you you click.
Yeah, it's yeah. Why not, right? I mean, it only took me an hour, so or less than that, right? Half hour, 45 minutes.
An hour?
Yeah, no, I don't. I have no idea how long it took me. It was too long, I can tell you that, because it was just boring. But and working on random to-do list stuff. I was so nervous because I kind of used the random to-do list to kind of give me an incentive to buy games that I sold back in the day when I wasn't collecting.
That old chestnut. I went through that phase. When I finally decided, yep, I'm an achievement hunter now, and I went and bought back about 50-odd games that I'd sold off at some point just to wrap up the achievements in them, which is the beginning of my ridiculously large gaming collection.
So maybe in a few years I can catch up to you. So there are these games that I played, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago that somebody let me borrow the game, or I was at my friend's house and they played on my tag, and now this kind of forces me to get these games. Well, I played 2 of those games because I didn't have Madden 07 or Mortal Kombat, just the Mortal Kombat called Mortal Kombat for the 360. So I go on Amazon and I'm like, okay, I'll buy these games. But Mortal Kombat, they're like, oh, it'll be there in 3 days or whatever. That's fine. And then Madden 07 won't be there until January 5th. And I'm like, but I'm buying it for random to-do list. It won't count anymore. It's kind of pointless, but no. Fortunately, that was not the case. It came in on time. So I got to play Madden 07 and literally I simmed 1 game and got the achievement that I needed, plus 2 other ones. So that was fantastic. So I put that away. Then I started working on Mortal Kombat, and my random to-do list achievement is I have to get to level 200 something in this ladder mode. You have these ladder challenges, and I'm on 20, and I am terrible at this game. I am so used to Killer Instinct fighting controls, and I'm terrible at Killer Instinct that this just makes it even worse. It just compounds on top of it, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So we'll see if I get it. I'll try. Also played through a good chunk of Destroy All Humans, Path of the Furon, as well for the random to-do list stuff. I had 2 achievements. I got 1. I'll get the other one. That's not going to be too bad. Other than that, started Chapter 4 of Batman's Telltale Batman game, which is good, but just started. And obviously I'm not going to give away any story stuff there. Played Syndicate with Randy, as he mentioned. And then, of course, Freem, you and I, and many of our community members, which we mention every week, got to play Titanfall. And man, did we have fun last night.
It was insanity last night.
It was a great time, and I really hope that we can kind of continue that going forward. And also, on top of that,
is this where your roommate was getting harassed? Is that what you were mentioning today?
Hey, harassed is a strong word.
Bothered.
I mean, it's one of those perfect storms of lack of sleep and just it's late, and so everyone's hepped up on goofballs, and they're all like, everything's hilarious, and you find somebody who just doesn't want to be a part of it, and it got out of hand.
Sounding a lot like how the idea for Big Rigs came about. And then it was like, yeah, we should actually do that. Then we just started. Like, you just, like, all it takes is you have this dumb idea, then you just do it.
Yeah. So
it's in motion.
And actually, but like last night's Titanfall actually was super productive for a ton of people. Like, I mean, I got 5 achievements. I know Saucy, I think, got 6. M got 1. Big L got a couple. How many did you get, Drew?
I think I got 3 or 4.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of us are like deep into Titanfall, so like to get those still popping, it's good. It's fun.
It was also nice too that we actually played halfway legitimate too. So when you're boosting, sometimes it's like you stand there and you get killed or you just get set up. And we did that for half the night, but for the other half of the night, we just kind of like, all right, work on whatever you have to work on and just go at it. And that was fun because, I got to kill Mango a lot. I ended up killing him first pretty much every round, which was funny. And then, of course, getting to, just kind of that competitive.
Yeah, you and Big L like had it going. And you guys were just at each other's throats.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, but turns out Big L is terrible at Titanfall because he had 0 kills that one round. I couldn't believe it.
He struggled at times. He might have been playing Rocket League.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, so that's pretty much my week.
What about you, Tarragon? What have you been up to?
Well, it won't be as long. I basically worked on Wheel of Fortune for one of my random to-do list achievements, and it's possibly the most luck-based achievement out of all of the possible ones that it could give me in that game. It's really annoying. You have to basically hit a very specific part of the wheel and get through the entire game without getting bankrupted after that, and then just land on a particular envelope on the end one, and it's just so I've sort of tried doing that about 10 times, didn't get it, but I'll keep hacking away.
Sounds like Superstar Karaoke. Gotta have the moons align and then spin the wheel, and then
I think
the moons align 3 more times.
Well, I think Superstar Karaoke is also buggy and it locks you out if you happen to do something wrong. But yeah, it's a little bit like that. At least the conditions are known, at least in Wheel of Fortune. But actually getting it all to happen is the problem. Microsoft Solitaire Collection, just been grinding away on the dailies on that, and I got my diamond today actually, so that was kind of nice. So thanks, Freem, for the tip on that one for the free premium on the UWP version. That was very helpful.
It helps out quite a bit. I mean, it's still at some point you've got to go and do so if you, unfortunately, you can't do your full month's worth of. I guess you can still do one every day. I mean, you don't have to get the full. No, because one of them is to perfection, and then you got to get every single challenge. Yeah. So when you do that one, you will get diamond, but it's real quick to get it this way.
Yeah, so it only takes about half the month. So it was pretty good. So I'm probably not going to do much else with that for the rest of the month because I know I have to take time off from it near the end. So there's no point trying to go for the full month or the perfect or anything like that. But I've been playing just for funsies, been playing through Batman Arkham Asylum, so the remaster. Just working my way through that.
What's fun?
That's that thing you do when you're not paying attention to achievements. Which might be an alien concept here. But, and it's probably a very alien concept for you, Crandy, but fun. It's a thing. Maybe check the dictionary. You might learn a thing.
It's what you experienced when you were playing Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah, sort of.
Gra is fun.
And the other game I started was A King's Tale from Final Fantasy 15. That's the add-on game that you get with the special edition of Final Fantasy 15. You can only get it from like GameStop or EB Games, and I figured, there's no indication that's actually going to be available anywhere separately, so I ended up picking up the game Final Fantasy 15, which I haven't started yet, but I did start the King's Tale, which, Freem, you would absolutely love, because it is literally old-style hack-and-slash kind of game, old-style beat-em-up kind of game. Is it digital?
That. Does your game share partner get it?
Yes. Yes, you
Oh,
do.
I bet he's going to be happy.
Yep. So that's been pretty much my week. I haven't played a hell of a lot of games, just grinding through my Microsoft Solitaire stuff and a bit of other random stuff.
Did you complete King's Tale or just start it?
I just started it, so I got my first achievement today.
I'm eyeing that one up for one of my games in my challenge. It looks pretty fun, and it's like 3 to 4 hours. That's nice.
Yeah, I've heard it's a
range.
reasonably easy completion. And yeah, no, it really is just a button masher.
Is there a multiplayer on it?
I think so. I haven't really checked because I'm not a multiplayer kind of guy. So yeah. Yeah, and other than that, just been flying through space in Elite, as I do, and not much else to write about there, but I have gotten I'm under 7,000 light years from, or maybe 6,000 light years from Sagittarius A, so I'm slowly getting there.
Fantastic. Titanfall, like I said, I got 6 achievements, not 5, but the one elusive last achievement I need is, well, it's not the one achievement I need, but one of them that's still just, it's haunting me. It's haunting, it's taunting, it is obnoxious, and it is that last campaign win for the IMC. I got the militia one earlier in the week, but I didn't get the IMC one, and so like every day, because you need the dailies as well, I'll sign in and get my dailies, and then I'll pop into a campaign round. Okay, well, if you're doing it by yourself, it's going to be really challenging because typically you'll go up against a crew of something, or trying to coordinate with randoms just doesn't work that well. But you might get lucky. The other thing is the maps are set on a specific rotation, and the map that I need is the very last map in in that rotation. The campaign, I don't really know where it starts and stops, but it's at the end of the rotation, and every time I've been on it, I've been on the militia team. So, because you can't pick sides. And so, like last night, after the Titanfall session kind of was wrapping up, I said, hey guys, anyone want to come in the campaign? Maybe we'll just play a little bit, see what we can come up with. And I jump in, and I'm like, oh my god, okay, I'm on the IMC side, and I'm 3, it's 3 more maps. So we finish this one, we do a secondary map, and then we jump into the one I need. And last time we did that last week with the militia, we stayed militia as a crew all the way through. Okay, so I'm thinking, oh, well, we'll get to stay as IMC. This will be great. Well, that didn't happen. Got to that map, and guess what? We're going to just flip teams on you. So frustrating. Like, and it's like I just want to be done with the campaign. It's like I like playing the game, but to have to sit through extra, 45 seconds to a minute of cutscenes that don't make any sense because there's barely a narrative holding the whole thing together. It's like, just let me pick my campaign level and pick a side and just let me just win. That's all I want. So that's been elusive, but I'm still enjoying the game and I'm absolutely loving our group. So, we got my Gears of War 3 group on Tuesdays that we'll be wrapping up this month. I'm thinking next week we might have to do one more session. We pulled in Doc Joe because we needed a 5th guy for our Horde mode. This is the first time I've actually played Horde on Gears, certainly Gears. It's the first time I've played Horde mode, and I'm enjoying it. I like it. It's a lot of fun. And, certainly as you play, it continues to get more difficult, of course. And so we started with 4-man while Doc Joe was figuring out some compatibility packs and whatnot. And, if you're on a roll and you got a nice team, you start building up all this money, you got great defenses, and then you hit one of those boss waves. And it just so happens that, we finally got Doc Joe in, and we hit wave 40. Right, the achievement's for getting to 50, of course. We hit wave 40, and that boss round, I think the one that pretty much ended our go was Berserkers. And I think 3 Berserkers came out, and they just wrecked house. I mean, embarrassingly just pummeled us. And so then it kind of randomizes. And so, okay, next time we get the Brumac. All right, we get killed because we have no defenses. We're just trying to stay alive. Oh, then you got the Corpsers. Then you got and it just keeps coming. We played round 40. Gosh, I think we probably played it 8 to 12 times, somewhere around there. I mean, we just could not get over the hump. And, it's, we didn't stay alive long enough to warrant spending any money. Just hang on to it, see what happens. And at this point, it was like 1 a.m., I think. And I said, all right, this is just, we got to be done. We wanted to beat 40 so we could start at 41, but we just have to be done. We can't do this. And I don't remember, I think it was Mattism had the great idea. He said, you know what? We should probably spend all our money because that goes towards some, medals and things. Like, there's progress there and you get XP. So we should probably spend all our money and just blow it out and then be done with it. And so we do the first round and just build all the defenses back up and then just got wiped right away. It's like, well, that was stupid. And he said, all right, guys, I still have a little bit of money. Like, let's just do one more round and I'll blow through all my cash. Well, of course, that was a round we won. We beat round level 40, but at that point it was way too late to continue to press on. So when we get back together next week, it will be 41 to 50. Hopefully achievement pops. We have to go back and rerun Doc through level 1 through 21. That's where he joined in. And, of course, levels 1 through 10, if you're the Zeta team, there's an achievement there with the Ram Shadow DLC. So got a couple more achievements in that. And then that's pretty much the end of my participation in Gears. I'm going to skip seriously. I'm going to skip a lot of the multiplayer, the other stuff, because I just don't really care. I'm never going to get to those. I will at some point probably go back and get those collectibles, but it becomes much less of a priority at that point. That opens the door for the new January session, so I'm really excited. I don't know what game we're going to end up doing, but I'm really excited to have another community group to play with. This particular group that I'm in, Koosh, Saucy, and Mattism, we're going to be doing Diablo. And I think, Prue, you said you kind of wanted in on some Diablo. This is on the 360. Diablo on the 360, building up, and then we're going to transfer over to the One. And honestly, really, we can have a ton of people because at some point, I might miss a Tuesday or a Monday. It's going to be on Mondays. Someone else might miss one. We could start a little earlier, start a little later. So if you guys are interested in Diablo, send me a message and we can try and coordinate some of that fun stuff. Two other things I played. Of course, we need a Y for the Dead by Lead 2, and I have one Y I've been milking for probably 16 months now, and it is Yaba, Ninja Gaiden Zed. And I was an idiot and I put it on normal. I should have just done easy. I don't know why I didn't do easy because it's a Ninja Gaiden game. It's super hard and even normal is just stupid. So, and if you don't play it for a month, you forget how to do all the controls. So I'm relearning every time. And the one thing I'll give it credit for is it's more of a competent button masher than kind of your Ninja Gaiden 2 and 3 that you need to be a little bit more precise. I mean, you can still button mash in those, but I think it's a little more punitive when you make a mistake. This one you have a little bit more flexibility, but boy howdy, you'll get shredded, no problem. And that happens quite a bit, especially on bosses where there's multiple phases. There's additional enemies floating around. They're just there to wreck house, and so. Eventually, I got a couple achievements out of it. Now I'll just put that on the back burner until the next gamer tag that has a Y in it.
There's always Yaris.
Yeah, I'll skip Yaris, but you've got Yasai Ninja on the old tag. And technically, I haven't done YouTube, the app, yet either.
That's if that even works.
If it works anymore, that's true.
I think that one's discontinued, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Actually,
the final thing that I've played is Prominence Poker. Prominence Poker has come out with a new title update, and it added, I think, 8 achievements. Ultimately, they have opened up. There's a new affiliation. So the initial affiliations, I think, were Spades and Diamonds, Spades and Hearts. Anyway, that's like your gang that you're part of. Well, they opened up a third one. I think it's the other red suit, whatever one that is, either Diamonds or Hearts. And so you can have another affiliation to be a part of. And they introduced ranked playlists, ranked modes. So I've been kind of you have to do 5 placement matches for ranked tournaments and 5 placement matches for head-to-head. And so I've been doing the ranked tournaments. I'm not great at poker, and so like I think I get to the point where it's just I get so frustrated with having to wait. I just want the action all the time that I do stupid things, and I'm not patient. So I think I've lost all 3 of my placement matches so far. I'm wondering where I'll get placed in the ladder. Ultimately, by playing one ranked match, you or the placement matches, you get an achievement for that. And then at the end of their quote-unquote season, and so as of now, it looks like the season is going to end at the 31st or the 1st, one of the two, right, end of the month. I don't know if it's going to be monthly seasons or quarterly, but the first season ends at the end of the month. And for each rank, that's where your achievement is. So either, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond are the ranks that are possible. And then there's an additional achievement for getting to rank 4 with your affiliation. I'm not even a rank 2. I think you have to get to level 60 is the earliest you can get an affiliation rank up. So bit of grinding on that. I'm about $500,000 so far, so halfway to my million. But this is that game with the $1 billion in it. One thing I will say, though, they did increase the daily cut. So every day you get a bonus for signing in, and when I was signing in previous, I was getting so you get a 5x multiplier if you have consecutive sign-ins, and then the 5x just continues. So you get more base level for whatever rank you are. So I happen to be level 34, and so I get X amount, and that goes up with each rank, and then you get a multiplier up to 5, and right, it compiles. And so I was getting $1,600 or something. I mean, it was pitiful amount of chips. Well, with this new update, they have increased it significantly. So now that 1,600 I was getting is now 6,500. And there is an achievement for pulling in $100,000 in daily cuts. So signing in enough to get $100,000. And so that helps out quite a bit. It's going to make it a lot faster. Of course, not a game for completionists. But if you like poker, signing in every day is not a big deal. And if you got time for a game, you got time for a game.
Yeah, I should probably do that. I actually quite like poker. I just haven't played it for a while.
I do too. So that's been my week. Pretty slow. Just so much going on, especially with the holidays.
Yeah,
it's been an absolute zoo. Right. I would love to have a Christmas vacation. I see in the forums about people who are, I gotta burn up my PTO so I don't lose it. So I'm taking 4 days off of Christmas, and I'm waving my family goodbye. I'm locking the door and gonna spend some quality time with good old Xbox One. That sounds glorious to me. But family obligations. You gotta do what you gotta do. So we got, like I mentioned at the top of the show, tons and tons of feedback. And like I said, I'm so excited that we got this level of engagement. Really appreciate everyone who's taken the time to reach out. And of course, people, they like to hear their tags. And the two people whose tags were prominently displayed last episode, we're very excited. Of course, I'm talking about Doughboy and Foo Cuddly Poof. Both of them reached out on Twitter, said, "Hey, Freemhole, loved the pronunciation of my gamer tag. That was Fufu." And Doughboy, he said, "Got a shout out on the Z to Z podcast this morning as Freemhole's favorite gamer tag to say. Made my morning." Do I get a site badge now? Are we doing site badges? Should we give Dave the we can give him a smiley face in there or something?
I think we can we can do custom things like that. So yeah, I can look into that. Interesting.
So maybe you're ushering a new era into the forums for us. I got a message from Contini, and this was a private message, but he also put it on the forums as well.
I'll just add as well. He actually did. He sent a message to me as well, pretty much the same message. But he reached out to both of us. But
and which is awesome. Thank you so much. He said, "Hey, just found out about the podcast during your interview with the X1 Bros. Really enjoying it, and I've started from episode 1. I'm up to 12, and you guys have scratched that achievement itch. I'm really looking forward to the monthly competitions. You got a new positive member of the community. Great content. Keep it up. willing to help give some support, but don't see a Patreon or support page. And that's why I wanted to read this. Contini and everybody, we're working on it. We want to continue to make this community as awesome as possible. And with all these fun contests that we have, I want to pump up these prize pools so much more. I want to give back to everybody. I want to, that is my goal, is you win a month, I want to get you guys games. I want to give you more gift cards, whatever. And so to do that, we got to continue to build the community, get people excited about it, and find ways to introduce revenue that's not obnoxious. Because that's the last thing I want to do is bombard people with, ads and all sorts of stuff like that.
And now a message from our sponsor.
All right. So, we're working on it. We're trying to figure some things out and to get it up and going. But there you go. He does have a question that we should... I know we talked about in the past, and I don't know if you guys know what episode it was, but he says, what is the best, most affordable way to get an Xbox One PAL console or an NTSJ console, as well as those games? So I know we had 2 episodes. Were they back-to-back? Randy,
they were quite far apart.
Yeah.
The PAL one was much earlier. PAL consoles are easier to get in general. But the Japan one wasn't that long ago.
I felt like it was. I felt like it was in the early summer. Certainly past episode 12.
You're right. It probably was.
Yeah, so we have covered it, but I guess in brief, there are certain places you can order PAL ones from, I think, in the US.
The best place to get a PAL console to the US is Game, like the store Game. They will ship internationally for £5. You can buy used consoles, you can buy new consoles, and you can add, that's a flat rate. So you could buy 20 games and 5 consoles, and it would be £5 to ship to the US. So it ends up being cheaper than buying a used console at GameStop.
You
will have to buy a new power box, though.
That's right. I remember that conversation.
Yeah. NTS, the Japanese consoles, send me a PM, because I've got a contact or 2 in Japan who have in the past gone and purchased consoles on other people's behalves and shipped them over. So that's probably the easiest way.
Fantastic. We got a lot of love for making it 1 year. McLovin Legend said, hey, happy 1 year anniversary. Thanks for making my workday more enjoyable. So you're welcome, McLovin, and thank you for being. You were our number 1 fan for a while. I don't know if we can still have a number 1 fan anymore, because we have so many fans. Now. Yeah, but we love having you as part of the community. That's for darn sure. And Foo Cuddly Poof, he provides the counter to what Beer Me said in his message with Randy's Chernobyl-style rain cloud. Fufu says, gamers win in a PlayStation and Xbox war, and Randy still complains? If it wasn't for Freemhole, I would kill myself due to the negativity.
See, I was really, really proud of my tweet that I sent in response to that tweet. I enjoyed it way too much. Did you guys see it?
I did not.
I did.
No.
I've got it pulled up.
It's just 3 pictures of rain clouds.
Yep.
That's it.
You sure showed him.
So, yeah. It is. There you go. Which, so thank you, Fufu Cuddly Poof, for that. Finally, not finally, but we got a lot of activity on our Facebook page this last week too. I know the X1 Bros use Facebook a lot more. They've got live enabled when they do their show. They stream to Facebook as well. We're pretty terrible at keeping up with the Facebooking, but we did get some comments, and one of them, Prue, you had mentioned how awesome Skeptical Mario's gamer tag was. Well, he came in and he said, hey, thanks for the mention, and his gamer tag is actually derived from an anagram of his name. His name's Mike, and he said, this is an amazing and entertaining podcast. I'm glad I listen to it every week. Keep up the great work. So I went ahead and I found an anagram solver.
Here we go.
I came up I came up with some anagrams for all of us. So if you're interested in anagrams, you can use this solver. We'll put the link in the show notes, but you can go anywhere with them. And there's just a couple of good ones for me. So I've got Barman of Nerd or Mr. Broaden Fan were the two, probably my two favorites. Prue. I've got 6 favorites of mine.
Wow. All right.
Nodular Pixel.
That one's good.
Pallid Ruin Ox. Diaper Null Ox.
Jeez.
Axe Round Pill. X Urinal Plod. Or the Lurid Lap Oxen.
Last one.
I think the first one. I'm going to go with the first one for sure is the best one.
Nodular Pixel. I mean, that sounds like a video game one. I kind of like Diaper Null Ox.
Lurid Lap Oxen. That's the winner for me.
All right. I did throw Damien in here. Damien's got 4 good ones. No Naked Mix. Max Neon Kid. Oxen Man Kid. And No Axed Mink. Those were Damien's. Tarragon. You are Granola Rental.
That's definitely me.
I think that's pretty funny. We've got Arena Nag.
Okay. These last 2 are not great.
The Arena Nag Troll.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then, unfortunately, so you can put in what words have to be included,
right?
And so I found a word that stems from pieces of your name, and so I'm like, we got to add these. We've got Torn Anal Glare, or the Anal Torn Large, or Large Anal Torn. Once you find a couple words that are fun,
what are you trying to say here?
Just saying.
Awful.
Now, Crandy, of course, it's a little trickier because you don't give me a real name. So I did Randy2727, and I spelled it out. So
that is my correct name.
Hey,
yeah. That's my name.
This first one really describes Crandy too. It's amazing.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to find. So of the words, like I could pick like tenderness, right? I wanted, that's a good word. But more common, I'm looking at resented and severed, downer, sweats, right? Your sweatpants, vendetta. Right, you can find those words in those.
Pants, so not sweatpants.
So we've got woo tenderness, vent wavy. What's my other? I had a favorite one. Nasty severed woven town. That's a good one.
All right, that works. I can see that.
Another favorite one here. The 70-ton downer waves.
Yeah, that's
oh my god, that sounds like a band. That's incredible.
They're like gravity waves, but worse.
Yep. Rodent envy woven sweats, or owns every snow vendetta. So that's Randy2727. So maybe not as cool as Skeptical Mario, but we got a couple of fun anagrams in there. I should have done Big L. You have to, L, I know you're going to do it. Tell me what your anagrams are. We'll find some fun ones there.
In haiku form.
Anyway, in haiku form, yeah. You can throw them in the haiku chat. Tarragon, Alex, he's one of your buddies, right?
Yeah, he's actually my teammate from last year on GTA SC. So
is he your teammate again this year?
He is not, but he would have joined, but I think he was teaming up with one of his friends that he wasn't able to team up with last year, so that didn't work out. But he was an Australian that I ended up with in the team, and he got into the podcast probably, I think, after we got knocked out of GTA SC, funnily enough. So he's a new guy. So that was kind of good. And he says, love your work, guys. I'm in a bit late to the party. Just finished up episode 11 with the Life is Strange spoiler cast. I agree it was an awesome experience, and just loading the rest of it up here. Loved it too. Loved the banter with McLovin Legend and all the feedback, and catch up on what everybody's been playing. Looking forward to hearing more Shovelware Cemetery from Crandy, and I hope he has finished Graw by the time I get to this episode. Otherwise, drink. Love being in GTA SC with Tarragon and Montana, so that was my other teammate there. I was psyched to listen to Maca 91 as well, so yep, basically going through a lot of our history there. So but
right.
Basically he's loving it, and it's really good I'm really glad he picked it up actually, because I did mention it to him a few times, and I think he must have just Just found it. Oh, and this bit I liked. He let his girlfriend listen to the show for a bit, and he says, and she says, Tarragon should read audiobooks because he has a great deep voice. And I've actually had that comment a couple of times now. So look out for my my new venture coming in 2017.
New career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should. You find some good work. Get some good voice acting, some good narration. You would. I bet. You know what? You could do a really great animal documentary. Why don't you give me something on the narwhal? Can you?
Ooh, no, it's got to be crazy Australian things that kill
Tasmanian
you in 3
devil.
seconds.
The cigarette spider. I think
Australian
those
outback.
How about kangaroos that put dogs in headlocks?
That would never happen. That's ridiculous.
I know, it sounds
It's
crazy.
impossible.
This is the mating ritual
Right,
of the red-nosed 7-foot kangaroo. Normally mates by grabbing a dog in the nearby vicinity and putting it in a headlock, which then impresses its mate in such a way that it punches it in the face.
I think they're right there. Send that tape. Cut that. Send it for demos. I think that's perfect.
So so that was a comment. Miserly Pluto 459 was his gamer tag. I don't think I mentioned that.
Awesome. And it's funny to hear that with the callbacks to old episodes, and it's like, yep, we don't do that anymore. Oh, that joke's dead.
Yep.
And yep, no, that's there's all these things that we've kind of evolved from. It's pretty funny. We did get some clarification on Tropan. So he said, hey, great, and thanks for the content and the contests. His gamertag is Tropan, Tro, like Trojan, and Pan, like a frying pan. And everyone says it's slightly different, and that's fine. But that's how I say it, or I think it. Thanks again.
That's exactly how I thought it was pronounced as well. But now I'm just going to pronounce it wrong from now on.
For whatever reason, I always make the long A. I don't know why.
Tropan?
I hate ands. I like on Tropan. It's the same thing with maca, right? It's not maca, it's maca. And for whatever, I want to make that A a long A. I don't know.
Maybe, is that a Minnesotan thing, maybe? I don't know.
I don't think so. No, because we do weird A's. A lot of people here, they say bag. Throw that in my,
it's very Canadian.
Throw that in my bag,
the Minnesota
don't you?
accent is very, very Canadian.
So I don't know
Not
where
quite.
I get it, but
it's very close. So.
And we got Stushnikin gave us a congrats on 1 year, and then realized he posted with his trolling account, and so he came back on with his real account and gave us a thumbs up too. So that's what Facebook's all about, man.
Why don't I have one? Well, maybe
You got to
do.
be anonymous. Right? I mean, who wants that garbage?
Yeah.
And then finally, we got a question from Fufu Cuddly Poof. He says, hey, I'm listening to all your older podcasts, and the first couple, you guys talk a lot about challenges. And I remember hearing about them a long time ago, but never really cared about them since they offered no gamer score. Are they still a thing? Is there somewhere I can go to see what challenges are available and which ones I may have unlocked?
Yes, it's called True Achievements.
It is True Achievements.
Now, as with challenges, I've actually had some more information in recent months, and I actually got a bit of background info from somebody who's actually in the industry, the gaming industry, and it was around about the time that Phil Spencer took over the Xbox division, that challenges actually became non-mandatory. Before that point, they were actually mandatory, and that's why you saw a whole bunch of them. They stopped being mandatory, and as a result, pretty much 90% of game developers just dropped them. So I think it's pretty fair to say that the pickup of them has been pretty low. So, and they're not really that interesting to gamers in general. Barring a few exceptions, most people don't really care about them. So, pretty much, as far as they go, they're pretty much dead. There are a few exceptions of games that still do challenges, namely State of Decay is one, and I think I saw there's been a couple that have come up recently. What you can actually do, you can sign up to get notifications on True Achievements for all new challenges that get published. I'll have to find that. I'll put a link in the show notes for that one as to where you can do that. It might just be a setting under your profile, but you can sign up and you can get notified for all of those. But yeah, they are very, very far and few between these days. I think it's only really State of Decay that does any regular challenges.
Yeah, I just got the notification that they have the new one up for the end of the year here for January. But, it comes to think, I mean, they will be releasing State of Decay 2 in 2017. I mean, they've made that announcement. Hopefully they can keep on their development schedule and that happens. But what's going to happen to, I think they'll continue to do challenges for State of Decay 2 because their community has been very receptive to them. They think it's fun, and they've got a small little Undead Labs community that I'm a part of. I mean, I keep an eye on it, but I don't participate. But I've seen a lot of groundswell of people who really enjoy those challenges and stuff. But then, obviously I would assume that crew is mainly all going to move to State of Decay 2, and then at what point do they say, okay, you're kind of done doing our monthly challenges? Like, that's going to be kind of sad, because
I kind of wonder,
they're the only ones who are doing it.
Yeah, I kind of wonder with State of Decay 2, if they end up releasing that as a Play Anywhere title, I'm not actually sure challenges will work in UWP. So I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. But I suspect,
think about that.
Yeah, I suspect that given that the community loves the challenges that they put forward, I can't see them not continuing to do that in State of Decay 2 if they go that way. But I think they're pretty much the only developer that actually takes challenges seriously or does anything seriously with them these days. So, and I think I've only seen 2 other challenges in the last 6 months from other games. So, and that's been in the last month, or the last few weeks, I think. So, yeah, it's a bit sad, but they just never really took off, and they're being allowed to die slowly, I think.
Slowly and painfully.
Kind of like Connect.
Yeah, it was actually about the same time that the Connect became non-mandatory. It was the same time that challenges became non-mandatory. So, yeah, there you go.
There you have it. All right, before we move into news, I got my friend feed was blowing up with people who are, I said, hey, this is our last normal recording of 2016. We're talking about highlights, lowlights, what's on your list. And of course, we've got some questions. We'll get to the highlights and lowlights, but I want to start off with Salzbar. He says, or asks, would you rather have leg-sized fingers or finger-sized legs? To which Matriarch says, hey, I have to think on this, but I challenge the hosts to sum up theirs in haiku form. It'll be challenging, but it'll cut out our retorting time. So I've done that. You guys can answer normal, but here is my haiku. Finger-sized legs, please. Scary centipede-looking creep. Still have normal hands. So that is my haiku. That is my haiku.
Here's one I prepared earlier. I've got an answer. This question is so stupid. Elite Dangerous.
I like it. I like it. You guys, what's your take, Crandy?
But in seriousness, I think legs.
I think you just sold me on the legs. Because I'm thinking you still got normal-sized hands.
Yeah, you look like a terrifying centipede person, but you'd have normal hands.
You can use a wheelchair. You can get around. Yeah,
you'd throw a blanket on.
But you still got your hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you just cut them off. I mean, at that point, you kind of might as well. It's not.
I mean,
see, those finger-sized legs would be great at Halloween too.
Oh, they'd be terrifying, wouldn't it? I mean, just because to think. I mean, let's go Bill Nye on this, right? When we talked about our duck-sized horses and horse-sized ducks, you have to think about what would work for your physiology. And so, if you had leg-sized fingers, right? They would just be thick, like sausage-type looking digits, right? And they wouldn't bend quite as nicely. They'd just be weird and awful.
That'd be hideous. It'd be hideous.
Finger-sized legs, you would need so many to support your girth that, I mean, we're talking, you probably need 80 to 100 these little, phalanges down there.
That's not a good image frame. That's just
scuttling
really
around.
I was just thinking like 2, and you can't do anything with them. There's just 2 of them.
Yeah, they're just there.
They're just dangling.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't stand on them. They're just there.
I mean, you could, but
they would break. But
now, Cerebral Assassin chimes in. He says leg-sized fingers would be good for slapping. I mean, essentially, you would be kicking someone every time you gave him a high five. That'd be kind of fun.
Like 5 times.
That reminds me of that Foo Fighters film clip. I don't know if you've seen that. And he's got this big hand at the end, and he's whacking people.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Jimmy Fallon does that, where they play slapjack. and they've got the giant oversized novelty hand, and when you lose you get to whack your opponent in the face with a giant rubber hand.
So it'd be good for that, but pretty bad for everything else.
Yeah,
I think the only controller you could use would be the original Xbox one.
There you go.
The Duke.
Nice. You know what? Have you seen tweets from Seamus Blackley? Who he wants to come out with the Duke. Yes. He wants to do a Kickstarter and reintroduce the Duke to everyone.
Do it, please. That would be amazing.
He's kind of salty.
I think it's
like,
really?
I mean, he's got kind of a mouth on him. Like, even when hearing him from his little interview with IGN when they did the podcast Unlock 201, and it was Phil Spencer, Peter Moore, and Seamus Blackley. Like, he being removed from the gaming industry, right? So he's not the head of Xbox anymore. So being removed from it, I think he gets a little more flexibility. But yeah, he doesn't hold back. I'm gonna see if I can find this tweet that triggered that thought. But you guys go ahead and you can comment.
No, I think they should totally bring it back. That would be amazing. If for no other reason than just for fun, just to have it, just to be like.
I'm pretty sure it's happening. I'm pretty sure there was he'd already gone through most of the prototyping and stuff. So yeah, it was going to happen.
Yeah, and it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, the Duke was not a good controller design.
Oh no,
period,
it was awful.
But
it was terrible.
It's a great novelty, and I'll
buy one for sure. Yeah.
If I had more money, I would buy one.
There it is.
Apparently, it is actually really good for people with bigger hands. So.
I found
it. You're talking like Shaq hands. Like those are going to be really big hands.
My question,
and the other thing too, RB and LB are going to be where the black and white buttons are, because that's RB. The black and white buttons became RB LB, right. So that's going to be really weird.
My question is there going to be either an elite or a customizable version of the Duke?
The Elite Duke.
Yes, exactly. That would be amazing.
Seamus's original tweet, he said, "As promised, I'm doing actual work to see if I can release the new Duke. Please stay tuned. Retweet if you're psyched." Somebody, he retweeted a comment from somebody else. He said, "That's a nice sentiment, but it wasn't a control pad. It was a torture device that should have been covered by the Geneva Convention." But anyway, the tweet that I was thinking of, and I saw this fly through, is somebody asked Seamus, he said, "Hey, quick question. Why the heck did the original Xbox need that dongle thing to unlock DVD support?" And his comment, and I'll pull the expletives out of it, legal horse bleep related to DVD licenses. It was all new then, and the rules sucked. Like, that's not a PR way to say that.
PlayStation had no problem. I don't know.
Oh, to be fair, though, Sony was a DVD manufacturer,
true.
So I mean, they probably had ins with people if they had to.
Yeah, they were one of the probably on the committee that actually made the standard, so they would have been able to license themselves. So yeah, but other places getting licenses for it, particularly Microsoft, like you had to buy licenses for DVD player software if you recall back in the day. There was lots of rubbish around that stuff back then. So yeah, I believe it.
So there it is.
It was stupid.
The Duke.
I remember thinking that was really stupid.
Yeah, it was.
The Duke. Okay, so I think we've settled our hands and finger questions here. Big L has some questions. Now this one's aimed at Prue and I. He asks, how much real money have you spent on Pokemon Go? Prue? Would you pony
$0.
up?
$0.
You are a liar. You kiss your mother with that mouth?
I swear on my life, I've dropped off quite significantly, obviously from the launch. I haven't had to. Fortunately, I live about I don't know, maybe 100, 200 yards from a Pokestop. So anytime I do need additional supplies, I can just wait 5 minutes and get them. So I don't need to spend any money. But I would definitely do it if there was a significant incentive for me to do it.
I have also yet to spend any money. I have no interest in spending money. I do not care to do that. To me, phone games are free. And I it's a dumb way to look at it, right? I should be supporting developers who provide me entertainment. I mean,
yeah,
that is a thing, right? I should be contributing to people saying, "Hey, thank you for entertaining me. I appreciate it. Here's some money for your hard work." But there are free options that I can enjoy, and it's like I'll watch an ad or whatever. But anyway, so I haven't spent any money. The only thing that I would consider is to get more egg incubators because I don't walk. I don't walk anywhere, right? I'm an adult. I have a car, and I live in a place that requires me to drive. So there's like and it is negative, 5 degrees here. So you don't go outside anymore. That outside is off limits. So I can either creep around real slow in my car and look like a creeper, or I could, so I have to kind of to do multiple incubators at a time. I don't have that option.
Embrace the creep frame. Embrace the creep.
I guess
it gets mad at you now. I don't know if you've played.
Oh yeah,
Super
no,
recently,
they made it really difficult. And so like the nice thing is I go to work at like 6 a.m. and so there's nobody on the roads at that point, and so like I can go real slow. Out of my neighborhood and hit. There's like 4 Pokestops on this like main drag. There's a couple statues in the middle, and there's like no cars out, so I can go real slow, swipe, and then turn off my phone and then take off and go to work. So that's how I supply run every day. But we do have a question from Big L for everybody. After Crandy's 27 minutes of complaining about Dead Rising 4 without having played it, I have a question about sequels. How much should a sequel change, and how much should a sequel stay the same? On top of that, which series has the best, has that feeling of familiar yet improved? His comment is Zelda. It seems that it happens in music too, right? Nickelback puts out an album and gets criticized for sounding the same every time, yet Metallica puts out a new album and everyone is happy that they sound like old Metallica again. I think his final. Well, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's probably because Nickelback suck.
I was going to say, I think Nickelback gets criticized for sounding like Nickelback, not for sounding like Nickelback.
This is true. Yes.
Yeah. He also
they still sound like Nickelback. God.
he throws in the other example of Gears of War 4 is a good one. It feels like Gears 1, and is that a good thing or a bad thing? So what do you guys take on this?
I'm going to disagree with the comment of games feeling like Gears 1. Because I don't think there's been a game that feels like Gears 1 since Gears 1. That's why I stopped playing them. But that's my opinion.
I disagree.
Just all games in general. You stop playing them because they don't feel like Gears 1. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll comment on that specific instance. Gears 4. I mean, I don't know. I would disagree that it feels like Gears 1 for many, many reasons. But for the point of what the question he's asking is, even if it did feel exactly like Gears 1, we wouldn't want it to feel like Gears 1. I mean, it's been, 10, 12, however many years? 8? I can't remember. Since Gears 1 came out. I don't want to play that same game that I did when Gears came out. I could just play Gears if I wanted to play Gears. So
yeah. I think one of the most telling... And it was back when they remade Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And of course, I'm going to take Pro Skater 5 out of this because that was a horrible disaster and it's an abortion of a game. But the original was when they remade it and they put the HD version together. And it was Neversoft still doing that, or had they been disbanded by that point?
They were gone at that point.
Yeah. Anyway, he said... The goal of making that game was to give you the nostalgic feeling, yet provide better gameplay, right? So we didn't want to just make the exact same game because we learned how to do things better. And so at the time, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 or whatever, the basis of that game was awesome because no one had ever done something like that before. And what they were doing was so fun and great, and it was fresh and it was new. Okay, well, now we know how to do a skater game a little bit better. We get the controls a little bit better. You can throw in manuals. People like to keep the tricks going. Those types of things. We want to update that old game to incorporate all these things that people really like, yet provide that same sort of feeling of arcadey, big air, big tricks, big points, and capture that essence. I mean, that's ultimately what we want. And so in Gears of War, for example, we want that essence of the gritty Gears 1 feel, the characters that we enjoy, and setting the foundation for a really unique world and experience. Okay, well, we've been through a trilogy and, the Judgment disaster, and now we're starting fresh 25 years later, but we have all these preconceived notions about what we want. And so we can't approach Gears 4 as a sequel in the same light as Gears 1. And so ultimately, you want it to feel like Gears 1, but it can't, because you've already made a decision about what the game's going to be like. You can't come at it with fresh eyes, and that's the biggest challenge of sequels in general. It's like your argument with Dead Rising, Crandy, when you and Tarragon were talking about Dead Rising. It's like you've got a special place in your heart for Dead Rising 1 because of what it brought to the table. It's only strengthened by what it brought to the table because it was your first experience in that world. Tarragon's point was, loved Dead Rising 1, but 2 improved upon so many of those things that ultimately is the better game. And neither one of you is wrong. It's just that's the way a sequel should be, is take the essence of the first game and build upon it to make it better for the second game.
Yeah, well, that was sort of the gameplay argument. I think Crandy's view was also that a lot of the atmosphere was lost from Dead Rising 1 to 2, which I can sort of agree with.
Yeah, and I'm totally with that. My real love for Dead Rising was not in the gameplay; it was in the setting. I mean, the gameplay was obviously a big part of it too, but it was the setting that made it fun, because it was, I don't know. I still don't know how to describe it, but we've been over
something
this.
about it. Yeah, something about it, and there's something you got lost in Dead Rising 2 and the sequels.
Exactly. Some of the character of Dead Rising 1 got lost, and when I talk about Gears of War 2, I should clarify, I'm not talking about the story, because I have zero interest in the story and setting of Gears. It's like testosterone the game. I think Prue said that when we were playing. And it's just like, yeah, bros killed the Bugmen, and yeah,
I think that's pretty much why I couldn't get past the first level in that game when I first played it. It's just like, the
game is not about story. It's about killing people with chainsaws and bodies exploding. Like, that is literally the thing that drew me to Gears of War. Somebody told me that there was a game that when you shoot somebody with a shotgun, they explode into little meat chunks, and I was like, yep, sold me. So, which it did. It was fantastic. I had never heard of it. I mean, the only game that I knew of that you turned into meat chunks when you died in a certain way was Oddworld, which was awesome also. So Gears of War was gameplay wise. I didn't play a ton of Gears 3, but I played enough to get a feel for it. I played plenty of Gears 2. To me, there was no Gears experience that was as smooth as 1, and I don't think it was intentional. I think because they were kind of inexperienced, and just the way moving in and out of cover and running and everything worked in Gears 1, it flowed better than it was supposed to. And as a result of that, it had a really crisp multiplayer experience that was fantastic. And I haven't felt that way in other Gears since. I mean, like I said, I didn't play much of Gears 3. I did play Ultimate. I played some Ultimate Edition in the beta, which felt exactly the same as Gears 3. I assume it's probably on the same engine. And it just, there was, and I was really excited about Ultimate Edition because I was thinking, this is it. This is finally my Gears 1. I can play Gears 1 online again with people. But it was Gears 1 maps in Gears 3 is what it felt like to me. So I didn't like that. And in terms of sequels in general, I think there are a lot of games that did do that improvement very well. I'm just looking, kind of scrolling through my list.
My obvious one would be the Batman Arkham series. Arkham Asylum was great in its own right. Then Arkham City basically took some of the little things that didn't quite work in Arkham Asylum and made them better, and expanded the universe as well and expanded into the city. And then Arkham Knight was just kind of the perfect kind of endpoint of that. It gave you the Batmobile or the Bat Tank as they call it. And was, I mean, some people really didn't like the tank, and I guess that's an opinion. I really liked the tank. And using that was an extra element to the gameplay. I think that series just went from strength to strength as long as you ignore Arkham Origins, which was kind of not part of the series as far as I'm concerned.
And the key, I think the key with that too is they knew when to end it. I think that's an important thing is instead of driving something into the ground, just know when to end it. It's like, when you can't improve it anymore, don't dumb it down, water it down, and just say, here you go, we're gonna whatever, here's
Batman 2016 and Batman 2017,
and then we say, hey fans, we're gonna pee on you and drive you into the ground with our foot because we don't care. Like, that's what happened with Saints Row. Volition openly insulted long time fans of Saints Row, and I'm sure I've said this before. I'm very upset about that.
Yeah,
I think it's a very
it's okay,
bad
Freddie.
thing.
It's okay.
Episode 42, episode 34, episode 22. But that goes directly into, I mean, that's exactly the game series that I'm going to bring up is Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed 1 showed a foundation for a really fun game, but was mired in boring, repetitive, non-varied tasks that you had to do, but it was steeped in this really unique setting, and you had the seed there. And then with Assassin's Creed 2, they really upped their game, introduced Ezio, a better character. They introduced more varied missions, things that engaged you in Ezio's story, and the gameplay just got better. It's like, okay, yeah, now we're cruising. Brotherhood comes out. They've added training assassins. You've got, that layer that gets added onto there, and you're like, yeah, all right, now this is so cool. And then Revelations comes out, and it's like, oh, here's bombs and den defense. And they just crap the bed on that one. And then it's, that sucked.
Revelations is where it started to really kind of go downhill.
And that's just it, right? And it's like, okay, well, we screwed that one up. We got to move settings. Let's go to, the United States. People love the United States. But what we should do is take all the garbage that people didn't like. Let's make a huge, boring world of forest and put a bunch of fetch quests in it. That'll be awesome, right? Totally downhill on that one. And then Assassin's Creed 4 comes out, and they're like, okay, we've learned our lesson. And then, 4, Rogue, yes, right? Those are the types of games that we wanted.
To be fair, they did introduce ships in 3, and that was one of the most fun parts of Black Flag. So yeah,
that's true. That's true.
And I think 3 actually gets cops a lot of flack that it shouldn't. There was a lot of good things going with 3, and I actually really enjoyed the setting and the story. I think a lot of people's complaints with that one is actually the character. They just didn't relate to Connor at all. Which I did. I didn't have a problem with Connor, but other people did, and I guess that's the issue. If they had a different protagonist or something like that, or a more likable protagonist, that game might have been seen in an entirely different light, I think. Because, functionally, gameplay-wise, there's not a lot different between AC3 and AC2. It's just that they've added ships. So, anyway, sorry.
But then they totally dropped the ball on Unity. Tried to come back on Syndicate, and too late by then.
Yeah, well, Unity, I think they cut out a lot of the good things and made the combat really hard. At least until you level up, anyway, it's actually quite difficult. And they were plagued by their really buggy release, and they were just trying to rush releases out, I think. So yeah, it's kind of a bit sad, but yeah. And Syndicate, well, I haven't played it yet, but yeah.
Yeah, let's hear it, Prue. What's your take?
It's just really interesting to use Zelda as the
I agree,
quote unquote template at this point, because Zelda
poster
is
child.
So hit or miss on this kind of thing, right? Where Zelda is going to be Zelda, so it's going to be brilliant, kind of no matter where you go with it. But definitely there are highs and lows, and it's kind of the perfect poster child for what works in a sequel and what doesn't. Because Zelda kind of tries to reinvent the wheel every single time it goes up to bat. And it's man, it's tough because you have. This is going far back now, obviously, but you have Ocarina of Time, widely regarded as one of the greatest games of all time. Then you have Majora's Mask, and there are people in that camp that are like, this is an even better game. But most people are like, no, this is not. And then they try to switch it up with the Wind Waker. And I don't know. I feel like most games follow this kind of and this is, I shouldn't say most, but it's this general tendency of curve where the first game comes out, introduces the concept, introduces the world. It's good. It sets everything in motion, and then the next one is better, and then maybe generally the third or the fourth starts to taper off. So it's tough. It's a balancing act where you have to pick what are the elements that people liked. How do we introduce new elements that the developers and the players are interested in? And I think it's there's no magic formula for it. I think it's kind of hit or miss, really.
Yeah, but I think what Zelda does the best is, like you said, reinvents itself, and so you've got a thin continuity between games, right? You see Master Sword, Triforce, Ganon is predominantly the bad guy, Zelda is predominantly the princess. They've got these narrative pieces that carry through each game, but individually it's a standalone story, and your reasons for doing it, or your protagonist is essentially the same, but they've got him when he's a kid, they've got him when he grows up. They're using time as an element, they're using ships as an element. And they come up with new ways to invigorate the story, yet not continue a trajectory of maybe a story that's not going anywhere, or something, let's go back to Gears of War, right? 1, 2, and 3, right? That story just progressively got crazier and crazier, and whether they had that entire arc from the beginning or not, I'm not sure, but it's funny to think that Assassin's Creed actually does, it reinvents itself every time, right? There's the narrative of the Animus linking all these things together, but you have a different protagonist each time. But then why was the Ezio collection widely regarded as the best of the series, and that's 3 games with the same dude? It's how come that didn't work in the Zelda model, where you essentially have new games every time? Because I loved all the Zelda games except Wind Waker. I hate Wind Waker.
Oh my goodness! I could not disagree with you more. I mean,
worst.
That was the last good Zelda. That was really mainstream Zelda, main console Zelda. But I haven't played Skyward Sword, so I can't say that. No, I would argue that. Oh my goodness! I can't believe you just said that. My mind is blown. I don't know. I don't know what to say at this point.
What, you like Wind Waker? You don't like Wind Waker?
I love Wind Waker. Wind Waker is fantastic. Yeah, no,
okay,
I
liked everything about Wind Waker except for the ships. I hated the ships.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like 70% of the game? Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
We're just you just wander in the ocean for forever. Then you finally get to an island.
That's it. The ocean is again. So dead. The world is so dead, and you've got these little tiny
big
dingleberries of an island sitting there, and it's like, oh, let's just check out this piece of turd. And who's this goofy crap-faced elf dude? What's his name? Tingle? God, what a
Tingle was introduced in Majora's Mask. So yeah, that was.
It took me way too long to get into. I did finish it. It took me a really long time to actually get into it because of the sailing. But anyway, my perfect sequel example, I think, is Banjo-Kazooie to Banjo-Tooie. It took everything, literally the same moves and the same general gameplay from the first game, and then made it bigger and made it look better, but still kept the same feel. It was the same type of game with more stuff.
I think that
like most sequels, yeah.
I think that's a great example, but
it was so much it was almost like you just kept playing Banjo-Kazooie. It wasn't even like it changed. It was just a perfect flow of continuing the game. It wasn't this big, they didn't try to change everything. They just it's just they kept going with Banjo-Kazooie, and that the flawless kind of flow between them makes it kind of, I think, the best way to keep going. And then you got nuts and bolts, and we're not even going to get into that.
Yeah, no, I agree. They did only add to it. They didn't take anything away from it. You just kind of start in that. I actually really agree with your example. The only problem I have is to saying it's a perfect sequel is I would, if I had to, if somebody forced me to play either Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo-Tooie, I would pick Kazooie.
I'd pick Tooie.
But only
I love
slightly,
Tooie.
like 1% more. I would not complain at all about picking Tooie, but I just feel like Kazooie is almost a perfect game. But that's just probably my hang up, I imagine.
Mario follows the same template as Zelda. I guess Zelda probably follows Mario. There's more of a narrative, continuity with Mario, but Mario does a lot of new things each time. We talked about Flood. We had Galaxy introduces new mechanics. Yoshi's introduction in world, and then having Yoshi's Island as a complete departure from the series. Right? I mean, they just continue to add new, innovative ways. Well, you use the word innovative in some instances. In other instances, it's derivative. But that's a Kirby is another one. Nintendo's great at it, right? They take a character that you love and you have this fondness for, and then they introduce a new way to interact with that person.
I think
it's all about character development.
With Nintendo too, is they don't do a yearly series, and they don't drive their IPs into the ground like most other IPs do. Like, you don't have Assassin's Creed where they're like, we can sell twice as many this year, let's make 2 because everyone's going to buy both of them anyway. Like, I mean, you get a Zelda every 4 to 6 years,
but we don't see Assassin's Creed Kart.
That's true.
So maybe we should.
I was just thinking
there is another example that's worth talking about, and that's the Final Fantasy series, because that basically it completely reinvents itself every single game, apart from the sequels, like the sequels. But everything up until 10 was essentially a brand new game, brand new characters. They used a lot of the same tropes and game mechanics, but they expanded on each one or modified it up or just changed it a little bit each time. The combat mechanics were always just a bit different, or had different effects and different things going on with it. It's an interesting one, and it totally reinvents itself every time, but has enough similarities and enough familiarity with the universe and the creatures and the spells and all that sort of stuff that you still know it's a Final Fantasy game going in. And the thing is that they're hit and miss as well. So yeah, there's no sort of perfect way to do a sequel, I don't think.
It's tough. It's so easy to go too far one way or the other. And it's really hard to just kind of say, this is what we want in a sequel. Whereas tough.
I mean, Final Fantasy X was good, and then they had Final Fantasy X-2, which was the very first direct sequel that a Final Fantasy game had ever had. And I mean, I played it and I enjoyed it for what it was, but it certainly felt like it was derivative. And I mean, it was the same universe, the same world. It was basically a kind of cut and paste of things with a new combat mechanics and so forth. And that kind of sort of signaled a bit of the downhill trend, I think, for the Final Fantasy series, at least until sort of recent times. Final Fantasy 13, I think, was pretty good, and that was kind of the first one I got back into, but I haven't played Final Fantasy 13-2. And there was also Lightning Return. So they kind of did extra sequels there. So it's a bit of an odd thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll have 2 points, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. I do want to mention Weasel Pizza made a comment. He says, I haven't really played a ton of sequels, but I think the best formula is something like Diablo to Diablo 2. Diablo 2 added a fresh take on the classes, but it wasn't too over the top. They added customization and, better items, sped up the gameplay, but they didn't diverge from the original plot, and they kept the story moving along, and the mechanics were relatively unchanged. That is inherently progress. Summary: it needs polish and fill in the gaps on what was missing the first time around, as well as staying true to the original concept. I think that pretty much sums it up. And that, as far as sequels go, I think one of the most anticipated sequels from my standpoint is Destiny 2. Right? I look at the progress of Destiny from vanilla with the additions up into Taken King, and then with Taken King and Rise of Iron, they're not sequels, but they have added new ways to balance out the game, new story arcs. They've kept the base core mechanics, which I will argue are like the best, most fluid feeling shooting mechanics. And that is why I play that game. The gameplay to me is so fundamentally awesome. Yet I want to consume more of the lore. I want to, engross myself into that world. And so as a sequel standpoint, I like all these iterations they've done, and I would like to see, okay, let's start over with what we've learned and maintain the mechanics as it is, because they're amazing, and really flesh out the story. And that's kind of, I think, you find whatever you're great at. If from Nintendo's standpoint, it's character development. You love those nostalgic traditional characters, and then and the the mechanics are usually spot on, right? Fluid platforming, whatever. You highlight those and you add a good story to it. Or with Destiny, mechanics, awesome. Add a good story to it. Walking Dead Season 1, you've got awesome characters and really cool storytelling. Build upon that. Keep fleshing out those characters. Keep telling cool stories. Yeah, your gameplay sucks. Your engine is terrible. But, that's why you come back to those sequels. Find what you're good at and continue to push on. We still have to talk about highlights and lowlights. This, we got to start getting this thing moving.
It's going to be a long show.
All right, so before we get to our highlights and lowlights, just a couple quick news items here. One, I want to mention Ark Survival Evolved gets an achievement list. Now, that game is still in game preview, but is this an indication that we're moving out of preview, or will game preview games get achievements? What do you guys think?
Pretty sure Elite Dangerous had achievements before it came out of preview, so there is a precedent for this.
Yeah,
there you go.
But I'm pretty sure it was late in the development cycle that they got it, so it's pretty certain that Ark Survival Evolved will come out as a 1.0 relatively soon.
There you go.
I think that's pretty standard. I think the majority of the preview games did end up having achievements, just a couple.
Prior to going live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you have it. We might be on the cusp of getting that game for real. Looking at the achievement list, a lot of dinosaur riding involved in it. I think
that's kind of the game.
Yeah.
I think.
So there you go. Surviving and riding dinosaurs. That's your achievement list. So if you got something now, if you got a crew or a tribe that's already got all this stuff, kind of like Minecraft, if there's preset worlds or people you can jump in on, maybe you can get these things real quick.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, actually, because the X1 Bros had a long-running Ark Survival Evolved world that got recently shut down. So.
Right, I know. I'm so sad about that. Now, maybe they did hand it off to another tribe, so maybe that other tribe will be cordial to the Z2Z community and help us get all those achievements real quick. And that would be awesome. We'll see. Anyway, we maybe have to reach out. The next piece of news, Majesco, the publishers of Cooking Mama or NBA Baller Beats for you Connect fans.
Classic game.
Absolute classic.
They're
Real
out of the
out
of the video game business. They announced that they merged with a biotech company called Polarity TE. So like they
okay.
That
makes total sense, really.
What's going on here?
So their CEO is no longer the CEO or anything, and their headquarters is shut down and just merged with the biotech one. So it really sounds like the biotech company was just like, hey, Majesco, you're a video game publisher. We're going to buy you and then shut you down for no reason because you add nothing to our portfolio, and now you're also not doing what you do. So, I don't know, did somebody just really hate Baller Beats or the Earthworm Jim 2 GBA port or something? Because, like...
Cooking Mama, somebody got pissed off trying to get that last recipe in Cooking Mama. And said, no, that's it. I'm buying the company, shut it down.
I'm sure it's completely unrelated, but their stock symbol is cool, COOL. I mean, is there like a product that Polarity really wants? It's called Cool, and they're like, I'm just going to buy that company so we can have their stock symbol.
Because they are keeping the stock symbol, it said. Somebody is.
I don't know. So thanks to GameSpot
for
that. That's
very
just
strange.
Weird. just weird. And in the what's the word I'm looking for?
Weird.
I can't even think right now. It's so late. Big Ben, your favorite, Randy, your favorite.
Yes,
they have
Big Ben.
acquired the Test Drive brand. How does that make you feel?
Can only be
Rainy?
good.
I mean, Big Ben's making more games.
That's true, which is fantastic. Because
It doesn't quite roll off the tongue though. Big Ben Test Drive Unlimited
it doesn't matter.
Not too sure.
But apparently, someone in the comments said they were hoping Bugbear is going to be involved with this game because apparently Bugbear has done games with Big Ben before. So it's a Bugbear game by Big Ben.
Bugbear Big Ben?
Nice.
Maybe they'll if they buy Ball the Beats, then that'll be.
Oh my god.
The
Bugbear Big Ben? No,
Bugbear
Bugbear
developed
Baller
Big
Beats by
Ben.
Big Ben.
Yeah.
Bugbear
Love
Big
it.
Ben Baller Beats? Is that what it is? Is that what
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
Brilliant. All right, let's move into our big mainstay show. It's the end of 2016. We're wrapping up our normal recordings. Tarragon and I, we are going to have one more recording where we wrap up the show for the year. We talk about everything in regards to the show. We're going to focus this time on kind of our gaming highlights in the industry, things of that nature. And in our next show, we're going to talk about the community. Tarragon and I have kind of a state of the state type thing, and that is where we'll allow you as the community to provide more feedback. There's a forum topic out there for your highlights and lowlights. Continue to add to that, and we will incorporate that into our conversation when that happens toward the end of the actual year, the calendar year. But in terms of the 2016 highs and lows for you, Tarragon, why don't we start with you?
Sure. Well, I mean, this year I hit my 300K and also my 333,333 milestones, which I'm pretty happy with. Hitting that 300K with that achievement from threes was a bit of a highlight. It was a pretty difficult achievement to get, and getting it perfectly for the 300K was quite nice. I was looking at my stats for the year so far, and I'm actually on my second highest amount of gamer score for ever for a year. I actually got 75,000 in 2015, but I'm on 65,000 at the moment. However, I'm about 15,000 ahead on TA this year over last year. So obviously my points are worth more, and I could probably say the leapfrog had a lot to do with that, along with Elite Dangerous. I think other highlights, just sort of outside of my own personal ones, I think some of the development changes that have happened over on True Achievements, they've been really impressive. They've done a lot of new features this year, and that's been really great to see. And also just the competitions over there, like the UHH, the Leapfrog. GTASC this year was pretty good, with an amazing finish, and of course our own competition as well, the random to-do list and the various other competitions we've got on site.
Yeah, I've got the random to-do list on mine as well, and in regards to the UHH, that's one of my highlights is UHH, and one of my lowlights as well.
Yeah, I've actually got that in my lowlights too.
Because it's so fun, and I love the fact that it was spawned from my idea and that we made it a reality, and it was so cool. And going into UHH2, I'm thinking everything's coming together. Like, it's got, we got the intro where we get to play 3 weeks, you get to experience it a little bit more. It's got that great competitive nature, and people figured out how to ruin it. This is why we can't have nice things, and it devolved into a really terrible experience at the tail end. And so much so that I don't know if UHH3 is happening. Like, I'm nervous.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing, I guess. But I mean, it was all within the rules, and I mean, not taking anything away from the winner, because he absolutely worked his hardest within the rules to ensure that he had the best chances of winning, and you can't really fault him for that.
No.
It's just it's just something that we need to take account in the rules themselves, and try and avoid that kind of level of. I guess it's not quite the competition I guess everybody wanted to see when it got down to it. Most people were complaining about it because it's not quite the competition they wanted to have. But that's the kind of competition it became just because of the way it worked. So
yeah.
Hopefully with a few more tweaks we'll be able to get a new one out and avoid some of those kind of issues, but it's a bit of wait and see at this point. Other highlights, I guess, for this year is it's actually been a really good year for Xbox, I feel.
Totally agree.
Had the Xbox One, the Xbox One S. They've had some really good sales months. They've had a lot of great games coming out. They arguably won E3 just with their sort of quality of info. I think it's really been a good year for them.
Even if the industry doesn't crown them winners, I think what we've seen in the fall here has shown a dramatic shift in momentum. And that's what I put on for my highlight is the momentum that Xbox has going into 2017 is really, really stressing Sony out. The PS4 Pro is not selling as well as the Xbox One S. They've faltered on many of the key features that the S can provide, yet we still have the Xbox Scorpio to look forward to in the end of 2017, and it's like they're just continuing to build upon this really great product that they have, continuing to come out with new games. The games that they're showing at E3 are coming out in, before the next E3. None of these long-term things that you have to wait on.
Yeah, and that's been a long criticism of sort of Sony and of late, or PlayStation of late, is that they're announcing games that are coming out 2 or 3 years time, and nothing really coming out now, which just seems crazy. It's like you need to be releasing, guys. Like, anyway, yeah, it's interesting, and it's funny. I've actually heard the contrary argument to that is like, well, Xbox doesn't have a plan for like 2 years' time. It's like, well, who cares? It's like 2 years away. I mean, I'm sure we'll find out.
And
I'm sure we'll find out at E3. I'm sure they do. They don't
just
need to talk about
telling you and overhyping things that then let everyone down.
Well,
like
and the
what
thing
always happens with things like that.
Well. And the thing is that if you've got stuff to talk about that's coming out in the next year, why talk about something that's coming out in 2 years' time? Unless you have nothing else to talk about, which is what my argument is with PlayStation, is they've got nothing else to talk about. So, of course, they're going to talk about stuff that's coming out in 2 or 3 years' time. Anyway, it's been a really good year for Xbox, I think.
Agreed.
Now, gaming-wise, I had a look back through at my sort of list of games that I sort of completed or played a lot of, and of course, I can't go past Elite Dangerous. Obviously, it's not a game that was released this year per se, but it is a game that I picked up and fell in love with, and I have to thank Planting 42 for introducing me to that or prompting me to get into it with that very early recommendation for the achievement sponsor. I don't know if you remember it. The one to go and visit, Sagittarius A, as it happens.
Yeah.
Which I'm most of the way into, and should have that by the end of the year with any luck. So yeah, that's been probably my biggest highlight of games in general. But a few other games that kind of that I've just looked back at and went, okay, those games actually really touched me, or I really enjoyed them. And it's things like Firewatch, The Turing Test, Dear Esther, Layers of Fear, Oxenfree, and Gone Home. All of those games left something with me over the course of the year that I can't say many other games did. So, granted, I haven't played. Well, yeah, I've actually kind of cooled on Inside, to be honest. I did look at that and I thought, I'm not so sure I'm in love with it anymore. I mean, it's not a bad game, but I think these other ones kind of did more for me ultimately and have lingered with me longer. So yeah, anyway, that's for me. My general lowlights this year, I had a fairly annoying GTA SC teammate. I won't go into details, but that did actually bring down my competition and my enjoyment of that competition significantly. The final sort of the saltiness that came up in UHH2. I don't know if anybody was following the forums for the UHH2 now that was all ending up in the last few weeks. The amount of salt and abuse and anger that was coming out just because somebody had worked out how to play the system really well was just astonishing and really disappointing, to be honest. It just sure, okay, the competition's not working out quite the way you wanted it to, but do you really need to be calling people names about it? And accusing people of cheating and all that sort of stuff. It's rubbish. Other lowlights, I guess, is Project Spark and Xbox Fitness both being closed. So I guess Project Spark is particularly for us because we interviewed Spark Thomas on the show. So it was kind of a sad thing, even though it sort of didn't quite get the momentum it should have or could have got. But yeah, it was a bit of a sad thing when it went. And it was, as a highlight of that, though, I guess the community involvement to get all the achievements out of that, done out of that over the last few weeks of that particular game's lifespan was pretty good. There was quite a lot of people coming together to help each other out. Yeah, I mean, this year as well, there's been a few personal life issues I've had, which, have been related a bit to gaming and podcast stuff. I won't go into the details, but it's been a bit of a mixed year for me.
That's on my list too for a low light. I've been stretched real thin between the gym, between the podcast, my family, work, gaming. Like I'm doing so much that I cannot physically keep up with this and maintain all the relationships and the everything that I want to do. It's like, oh, what the hell's going to give?
That's the thing as well. We'll get to this on the podcast episode, but there are so many things that we want to do for the podcast as well. But it's just a matter of okay, we've got to balance this with our real lives and time, and it makes things difficult. And I guess the last sort of lowlights there, and they're sort of, it's more just a bit of a shout out to some people who I know have had some rough years or had some rough things happen, and it's Montana 97, Facial Lafleur, and Stushnikin, and they all know why, but I just wanted to give them a shout out and say that we were thinking of them. Yeah,
absolutely. Prue, and you got some comments?
I do. I have some things that have happened this year to me as well. I actually am going to get. I'm probably going to hit about, as far as highlights are concerned, I'm about to hit, I think, 75,000 for the year, which is not only by far my most significant year, but it's close to. It's at least 150% of where I was. Like I am just under doubling what I was before. So this is like the first year that I kind of really dived into this whole thing.
It's a nice feeling. I think 75K is probably about you're pushing yourself quite a bit to get to that kind of figure. And that's getting to 100K and things like that is kind of crazy. But 75K, I had to push last year to get to 75K, and it's certainly a nice feeling getting that kind of figure in a year.
Yeah, it seems like, exactly. You're not like killing yourself to do it, but it's also like serious progress. So, it's been a great year for gaming as far as I'm concerned. Like Tarragon mentioned, the whole the S came out, and which I got one, I think a few weeks after release, and I've loved it. It's been amazing. As well as the Elite controller, which didn't come out this year, but I got mine this year. Both of those hardware upgrades kind of make you feel elite is what I was going to say, but it's nice. They just kind of like, it makes you feel like you're playing something. It just fits, and then it works so well, and it's fantastic, and it kind of gives you confidence for the future. I've loved it. It's been great. Obviously, a huge highlight for me has been joining you guys here on Zed, and that's I know I'm being real sweet, guys. Come on now.
Yeah. Who's going to tell him he's fired?
Oh,
we're downsizing.
I think that's Randy's job.
Yeah, that'll be 2017. You're okay, Peru. 2017. That'll be a low light.
No, it's been super amazing to join you guys. I mean, it's only been, I don't know, a few months now, but it's been so much fun just getting involved in the community, getting involved with you hosts, and just doing this whole thing has been incredible. It's been so much fun. This is actually two separate highlights for me. Becoming a host as well as getting involved in the community, and they're both kind of intertwined. It's just been so much fun. I cannot say how much I appreciate it. It's been fantastic.
And let's not forget the rise of the Prumate.
Yes, we should mention Prumate as
has
often.
Become a celebrity now. Everybody loves the Prumate, and it was in full effect last night in Titanfall. It was so much fun.
I heard he even jumped in Titanfall.
He was there.
He didn't jump in the game, but he did jump in the party. So,
I thought he jumped in the game.
No.
Is he going to be setting his gamer tag to Prumate from now on?
No, I actually I joked
Big
about
L
this.
Is sponsoring it.
I joked about it last night, but he's at work a lot when I'm home, so I'm actually considering donating the $10 for him to change his gamer tag to Prumade. So
That'd have been the ultimate troll.
So look, he's actually behind me right now. He can see me.
So what you should do is just go in and change his first and last name to Prumate. So when he signs in, it says, "Hello, Prumate."
That would be good. So we can all look forward to my highlights next year being changing his gamer tag behind his back. That'd be fantastic. One other thing I just happened, because we talked about it tonight and we talk about it semi-frequently, is Pokemon Go was a huge gaming highlight for me this year. Also a gaming
I agree
lowlight.
with that.
Also a gaming lowlight. A fantastic launch, literally the biggest app of all time, and then they kind of fumbled it from there, unfortunately, and they're still fumbling it. So that transitions into my lowlights. I gotta say, nothing really has grabbed me this year. There's been no new IP or even like new game from an old IP that has kind of set my world afire. Like I've just kind of been playing games this whole year. And it's like if you ask me right now, what is your favorite game of 2016? I don't know what it would be. I mean, I guess the closest I could come would be Skyrim, but I played that 5 years ago. It doesn't count. So I don't know. It feels kind of like an empty year for me, and it's maybe because I'm playing older games or whatever reason. So I don't know. It's just like there's nothing that I was super crazy about. So I think that's kind of a low light as far as gaming goes. My old original Xbox One had a broken Kinect, so that kind of sucked. Yeah, I'm kind of a positive person, so I don't have a lot of low lights. But again, Pokemon Go as well. But that's kind of my year wrapped up.
And that's why we're going to go to Randy next, because he is going to drag this whole thing into the dirt. And I'll save it with some positivity at the end here.
It's funny because I think I have twice as many highlights as lowlights, which is weird.
Oh, that's turning it on its head.
Hang on, Randy, are you sure you're feeling all right?
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering that as I was writing this. So yeah, first, I mean, the thing that kind of comes to mind here on the podcast is Gra. I mean, finally, at 4.5 years, finish Gra, and then get Christian Allen on, who worked on it and chatted about it, and that was super cool.
And got the completion whilst he was on the podcast too. That was a really nice way to wrap that one up, I think. Yeah,
it was. That was very nice and so satisfying to get that completion. It's, and with completions too, I am now at my highest completion percentage ever. And kind of how I really got into achievements was, it must have been 2012. It was shortly after I signed up for TA. The summer after I signed up. You see all the stats there and you see everything, and it's so easy to look at. And at the time I was kind of, getting a little more into Xbox, kind of moving away from RuneScape, which was my kind of game of choice at the time. And then I set a goal for myself, and I said, I want to get all of my online achievements. I want to go through my games and I want to get as many as I can. I looked at games like Quake and Gra, and I think, well, I'll probably never get those. Turns out I did. Haven't finished Quake, but I did the one that was like, no way, the leaderboard's never going to happen. And I started a lot of games. I think when I signed up for TA, I had about 70 games in my tag. Now I'm at 370, but currently I'm at about 81 and a third % completion, which is my highest ever. Which is pretty astounding, really. With over 200K gamer score. Yeah. Because this thing, of course, you can start a tag and play Avatar on it and get 100%, but it doesn't mean much. Then the other thing for gaming is I really, really enjoyed the Dead Rising remasters. I think it was so much fun to have the one remaster that I really, really enjoyed, where they didn't try and change everything and try and do all this stuff. They didn't screw it up. Dead Rising. It was fantastic. It was probably the best game well, Doom was pretty good too. I'll throw Doom in there. Because Doom was a great reboot. Super fun. Dead Rising 1, super fun. It's probably like the 2 games that I really cared about this year. I haven't played Dead Rising 2 yet, but then there's the whole... I'll put that in my low lights. Amazon. Well, I have a highs/lows category. It's both. So I'm going to throw in the whole Amazon fiasco and getting... I thought I was going to sell those PS4 copies, but like it's just too good. Like I can't get rid of them. Like it's just too good. Because now
keep them as a memento.
Yeah, they're like a storytelling piece now. It's like, why do you have 3 PS4 copies of Dead Rising 2? Well, let me tell you. You see, Amazon.
Let's sit down. Let me tell you a story.
We've got
Spin
a little
you a
story.
yarn.
Yeah. So, yeah, because I thought I was like, I could sell them on eBay, get some money. I could buy Dead Rising 4, which we'll get to. And then another thing has been moving to New York, which I wouldn't really consider a highlight. Not super not super into New York.
Or roaches.
Not yet. Yeah, cockroaches. See, you guys are making me put more rain cloud in. I'm trying to be like a little bit sunny here.
Hey, Randy, do you remember that thing you really didn't like? What about that other thing you really didn't like as well?
Yeah,
and how about...
There's lots of that. But being in the area, it's cool hanging out with Damien and Warren because they're both pretty close by, and going to meet Ski Bunny in person.
What a celebrity
experience.
That was fun, and hanging out, playing Rock Band, getting achievements with Warren, and thinking tractors are sexy. The country track back. Crystal Pepsi, that's just generally a highlight. The comeback of Crystal Pepsi, the disappearance of Crystal Pepsi, and then the immediate comeback again to a permanent distribution of Crystal Pepsi. It's been pretty great. And as Prue mentioned, I didn't actually play Pokemon Go, but it was a highlight in gaming because of what it did. It was so cool to see people going out and like meeting up together and playing Pokemon Go, and just kind of, I don't know, it was very positive. And it was positive in a going out and socializing and meeting people kind of way. And it was cool to walk around, particularly that summer. Just kind of, you would walk around, and I remember I was in, where was this? Near Vancouver. I don't remember. I think it was White Rock in BC, and walking kind of right near the water. Like, I think it's the ocean. I don't know. Geography thing. Just ignore
some body of water. Okay.
Some body of water.
There was a liquid of some sort on the ground.
See, I know what water is. I just don't know where the water goes. Anyway. I just remember this was kind of, that summer, like the summer of Pokemon Go, and just seeing like people, this is like, kind of in the evening, just, sitting at tables along this kind of path, playing Pokemon Go, and, being out there together playing Pokemon Go. And it was cool. I didn't play it. I didn't get into it, but it was nice it was something cool to see. And for that,
it was, I think it's actually was a very positive advertisement for gaming and gamers in general. I think it was a really it got a lot of positive good news press, and a fair bit of negative as well, just for some of the not nice things that happened.
Mostly get off my lawn type negative. That was kind of my impression. It was just like, there's like the old person's like, you need to go outside and play. You spend all day playing video games. And when people go outside, they complain that they're on the sidewalk. Same people, but whatever.
I think in general, all of the coverage for it was really positive, and it was seen as a very positive thing by pretty much everyone. And I think you don't get a lot of stories in games in general that are like that get mainstream press in that sort of way, that are essentially a meme that everybody knows about, even if they're not playing the game. And it's seen that positively. So I think for the sake of how gaming is perceived in the mainstream, I think Pokemon Go was a really good thing.
Agreed.
Hey, look, it had an effect of making an angry old rain cloud a little sunny, and I didn't even play it. So there we go. I'll next move to highs/lows question mark. So this is kind of both. Me being a rain cloud. It's kind of, I enjoy it. It's also miserable. It's kind of
I think you enjoy it too much.
And then, of course, the lie
by its very
engine.
nature, it's miserable. Yeah.
The lie engine is a fantastic creation of it being negative, and that it has to be used all the time, and that I really enjoy to saying lie engine and using it as an example.
I never picked that.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Then we'll go to lowlights. On the topic of lie engine, E3 was terrible. Listen to the E3 episode. You can get my opinion of E3 Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah, I guess they only announced an Xbox One S and the Scorpio. I mean, that was anyway.
Yeah.
It's not about what was announced. It's about the way it was done and the lack of soul or lie engine. Dead Rising 4, definitely a low light. By the way, it's I don't think I put the card in, but unobtainable achievement also due to very poor design, possibly. I don't know. It's one or the other. Well, it's definitely poor design, but it's just how blatant it is. We will find out maybe if they ever fix it. Rock Band 4, already something that I kind of saw as generally a shady launch and intentional kind of quietness, and just really overall very, very poorly handled launch, especially for a game that, I mean, you're really looking at your hardcore audience that has been with Rock Band forever, and then you screw them bad. And then Rock Band Rivals that came out now, for, you know, this impression that this game is going to have, you know, Rock Band as a platform, all this stuff, and then you have to pay $30 for Rock Band as a platform for year 2. Horrible, and just really, really bad taste in my mouth of Rock Band 4 going forward, and I don't think that they can really redeem that. And then this is really mostly just because it happened a week ago, and it is also the worst game I played all year, Truth or Lies. And it's got a special place in the lowlights because I did not play a game that bad until this week. Truth or Lies is the worst game I've played all year.
Which is quite astonishing, really, because you kind of revel in playing really bad games.
I do, but this isn't even like a good bad. It's not like Duck Dynasty. I need to play Duck Dynasty.
So you're saying this game is worse than Toro?
Oh, yeah. Toro at least is funny. Like, Toro has entertainment value. Truth or Lies does not have like the announcers. I played it with the sound off because the announcer drove me crazy. It's terrible. So yeah, that's.
Yep. I'm surprised you don't have Guitar Hero Live on there.
That was last year.
Ah, okay.
Rock Band 4 kind of oozed into this year because of the Rivals release that made me hate it. That made me really hate it. Because like the thing with Rock Band 4 is like I haven't regretted it. At least Guitar Hero Live I knew was going to be bad, and I went in knowing full well, you know, I'm buying this game twice because I want my serious completion, and I totally knew what I was getting into when I got it, and I was okay with that.
But
Rock Band,
such high hopes for Rock Band 4, and
Rock Band, exactly, and it was a game that I really, really regretted buying on day one because I indirectly supported that horrible practice by buying their game, and I mean, I guess directly supported their horrible practice because I paid full price for it. And that's really what was kind of the beginning of the issues with Rock Band 4, and then they only kind of continued and got worse from there, especially this year with the release of Rivals being very, very bad.
Yep.
And just continuing to be shady. Like, that's just the whole thing. They're like, oh, online play is coming for Rivals owners.
Let's not get into that.
Okay.
And then they delayed it.
Frame.
We'll
Save us.
Sure thing. Let me start with some lowlights. Like we mentioned before.
Keep it nice and rainy.
You're going to build it up, right? About being stretched real thin. and ultimately the thing that gave in that whole thing is sleep. I don't sleep anymore, and that is so dramatically unhealthy. Rocking 4 to 5 hours of sleep every day for, months and months and months. Tarragon, you have insomnia, right? I mean,
Yep.
it really, really makes life difficult. And so that's been a huge bummer. I need to probably figure out a way to get back into a balance, but there's so many things to do. And I want to do it all. Like, I want to be playing with my toys. And so, yeah, it is what it is. Now, every year, I set a set of goals. I set some gaming goals, and I set some non-gaming goals. And this last year, I set 9 of each. And I am woefully short on many of them. Specifically, my gaming goals, the 2 that I was able to do is complete Destiny, which I no longer have the completion because of new achievements, but I completed it, and Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Completed that pretty early in the year. The things I didn't do, I didn't finish the Kinect Fun Labs. I've got stupid Mars rover landing. I didn't even try it. I mean, technically there's still time, but I'm not going to. And this goes into one of my highlights is I wanted to have more played games than unplayed games. So like, and by played, I mean like games that I've actually put some significant time into. That completely fell apart when I, as a highlight, found the most amazing game share partner who has flooded my life with awesome games. It is virtually impossible now for me to have as many played as unplayed because my library is astronomically huge and I love it. I feel
and it keeps getting bigger too.
Yeah, I feel like I'm Uncle Scrooge in his money vault, and I'm swimming through a sea of digital and physical, games, and just reveling in all the possible gamer score. As far as I also wanted to do all of the episodic games, right? Finish Minecraft, Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, Tales from Borderlands. I didn't do any of that. I just finished Life is Strange, which I loved, and I sold all my games. So, unfortunately, I didn't get that.
You and Randy.
Yeah. There were 4 gaming milestones I wanted to hit, and they were all improvements on 2015. Now, 2015 is the high water mark for my gaming so far. In 2013, I scored about 20,000 gamer score, 40,000 TA, and 1,000 achievements, right? That was my previous high. In 14, I took a tiny step back, but essentially repeated 2013. And in 2015, I doubled everything. I went up to 37,000 gamer score, 60,000 TA, only 1,400 achievements, but I completed 26 games. That was a crazy year for me in terms of gaming, and I really stepped it up. And I said, I want to improve on that. Let's get a little bit better in 2016. And unfortunately, I'm going to fall a little short. Now, that being said, I'm pretty much matching my 2015, which, from my standpoint, is a pace that I didn't think I could maintain. And so I'm happy with my progress. I did still set the goals too high. And what you could say, well, you got all these indie titles and things are easier. It's easier to get gamer score, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. I'm still getting gamer score and I'm improving on my numbers. I'm really happy about those. Even though I didn't
really much easier than last year, though.
Quite hit. No. And even though I didn't quite hit the mark, I'll set similar gaming goals for 2017 and we'll see how that plays out. My completed games, I'm going to miss that mark by about 16. And mainly I'm hung up because I set a completion challenge and I got stuck on one of them. I could probably go ahead and complete 16 games in the next 2 weeks and say, oh, I did it. But I set a specific goal and I was unable to achieve that one. As far as non-gaming goals, I got 4 of them with a thumbs up, 3 of them with a thumbs down, and 2 of them I can't quite say yet if I'm going to do it. Let me start with the ones I failed on. Going to sleep, failed on that one badly, really bad. Having a garage sale. I am in a basement full of I'm sitting on thousands of dollars worth of things that we could sell. and we have not because it is
but there's such good audio dampening frame.
They really are so good, and that goes into cleaning the basement. I am in I look like I'm in a hoarder's paradise with how much crap is in this basement right now. And yes, it does provide awesome audio dampening, but when I get my webcam for Christmas and I start you guys can actually see my face and me interacting with the camera here, you're going to see piles and piles of garbage. I don't know where I'm going to record because I want, I have to like rearrange some things to make it look a little nice. Those are the 3 I've dramatically failed on. The 2 that I haven't, I can't comment yet because there's still 14 days left in the year. Do not break my cell phone and do not get in a car accident. Now, I mean, I'm in a dicey part of the year for car accidents, so I'm a little nervous. I'm going to knock on wood here. I'm a little nervous about saying that.
Try and not get the double whammy too.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, if you got into a car accident, you could easily break your phone
in a car accident.
Yes, yeah, that would be awful.
So I'm nervous about even mentioning that, but so far I'm on track. I've got 14 more days, crossing my fingers. What I did do, and I'm really happy with, is this podcast. I wanted it to be popular. I wanted it to grow, and I wanted people to enjoy it. And I've hit on every one of those, and I could not be happier with how this goes. And you'll hear about that in the next episode, about just all the amazing things that have transpired this year in terms of the podcast. Couldn't be happier.
I was saving my podcast part for the end. I was going to say that too. I was going to say the success of the podcast was one of my highlights.
Yeah.
But I was going to save it for the end and be all positive, and then I forgot.
I put on there that I wanted to take an anniversary trip with my wife on our 10 years, and we did that, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. I got to unplug a bit. Awesome trip in Mexico. It was glorious, and that helped a ton. I wanted to stop sucking at softball, and actually I had a decent year. I mean, I got hurt, so that didn't work as great, but it all goes into what my number one factor in my non-gaming goals is get back to a normal weight. And I did that real early in the year. I always told myself I would never be over 200 pounds. That was my limit. I'm 5'9", and I said never 200 pounds or more. That's my line. And when I weighed in on the first day of my workout plan, I was 198.7. You cannot get much closer. And it's like, you know what? This needs to turn around. And I did this 10-week workout program. I lost 30 pounds. I shrank by about 15% all over. I am back down to like being normal. The doctor looked at me and he's like, God, you have changed every negative health thing, the hypertension, the pre-diabetic stuff, all those things that help with exercise have completely reversed, and you're in fantastic shape. And he said, I'm actually kind of like seeing you actually kind of makes me feel bad. Like I should get off my butt and do something. Like we're about the same age, and I'm kind of disappointed that you actually, improved your life. And with that, it's given me so much more energy. It's been such a positive experience in my life that I've actually, I've continued with the gym, and my wife has joined the gym. She did her 10-week program, got amazing results, and her and I didn't, and we never really had a lot in common. I mean, that's not this, we don't have a lot of hobbies in common, right? We have an amazing relationship. Conversations were fun. We have, we joke all the time. We've got a really great relationship. But when it comes to how do you spend your free time, we couldn't be more different. And like we would just spend our time watching TV together. And it's like, well, that's great, right? We still have programs we watch and stuff. But now we both enjoy this working out, this kickboxing program. It has really just pulled our relationship together. We can talk about the instructors that abused us during the day, or, oh my God, can you believe we did this many squats or this many sit-ups or whatever, and it has provided such a spark to our relationship that it's been awesome. And so I think that, and doing that, I've actually become an instructor at the gym. It's, when my father-in-law passed away almost exactly a year ago, and it was a heart condition. And my wife said, look, the only thing, I want you to get healthy to be here for our kids. And that's the only thing I want. And I didn't want to go. Like aside from my personal goal of not being over 200 pounds, I didn't want to do it. I was scared. I thought it would be bad. What if I fail? Whatever. All these reasons not to do it. Fast forward 8 months, I'm now instructing others on how to work out. Like, I am fully engrossed in this gym, and to have such a turnaround that, it's been such a positive experience in my life. You've already mentioned it with the UHH and the RTDL, and the community, but in terms of the Pokemon Go, what I have enjoyed so much with the Pokemon Go explosion was the fact that it has pulled my family into gaming. Like, my kids and I can go out Pokemon hunting, and they love it, and it's so much fun. We all get to go outside. We make it a family thing. Every time I come home, hey, what'd you catch today? Oh, you wouldn't believe it. I was on a walk and I caught and they were just. We have so many of these fun Pokemon conversations, and my son is he's so excited about gaming, and he's, of course, his dad has tons of games and things for him to do, but he, loves his DS, and he wants to continue and play video games, and my daughter's following suit, and she's really interested in it, and they can be such a positive experience. Of course, we have to put limits and things and make sure that they're still well balanced, but Pokemon Go has been able to create a family atmosphere around gaming, and I think that's kind of helped soften my wife up to the whole thing. I know she still absolutely rolls her eyes and hates it when Pokemon talk comes up. To the point of, like, listen, this car ride, no talk about Pokemon. Phones are down. I don't want to hear any names of a Pokemon at all. But that's just kids, right? Kids can be annoying. It happens. So I'm really excited about that. In terms of the gaming industry, I've got two, aside from Xbox's momentum that I mentioned, I got two other things that I really enjoy. One is I'm essentially calling it the birth of VR. And I know VR has been around for ages, but this is the year where it's become commercially available. More people can get a hold of it and stuff. And I think this, whether or not it's going to come out of that gimmick phase, I think it's really provided this spark of enthusiasm in the gaming industry. Developers are really excited about some of the possibilities that they can do, and it's spurred this kind of new level of creativity on how to approach problems in gaming. How do we solve the locomotion issue? What are cool things you can do with, your hands and haptic sensors and all, how can we make this experience more immersive? Those types of trains of thought are what propel gaming and the industry forward. And whether or not it's, VR is going to be a fad and AR comes up and whatever, at least it's continued development in this industry, right? There's only so many platformers and RPGs and things that can keep coming out. It's this new wave of innovation. And that ties into the second thing I'm most excited about was the proliferation of indies. And some can see that as a negative, right? It has dramatically diminished some of the quality of games that we get. It's diminished gamer score. I would argue, it's become very easy to get easy gamer score. Games are just punching it out if everything's worth 1,000. But on the flip side, these smaller concept type games, they can be a little riskier. They can push the envelope and come up with some new creative ideas that maybe a AAA will take and build into a larger type game. But they're also bite-sized, and I can approach them and take care of in a relatively short sitting. I can get a complete experience, and some are going to be really awesome, some are going to be terrible. That's just the nature of gaming, and that's how it works. But so many more people can be developing games that you are able to see different perspectives from all walks of life. It's not the 1,000-man and woman development teams of Ubisoft or EA, whoever. those giant publishing arms that they've got this massive farm of people. It's, a couple guys making Cuphead, which obviously hasn't come out yet this year, but Jonathan Blow single-handedly coming up with these individuals who can come up with this concept they pour their heart into, they put so much time into, and when the product finally comes out, they hopefully are really proud of what they've done, and cross your fingers it's successful and interesting. And so I think we've really kind of seen that come into its own this year. I'm looking forward to as what it continues to do. I think it's become more approachable for people, and we can continue to get game after game after game. And it's killing our wallets, that's for darn sure. But it is pumping up our gamer score. So those are that's pretty much it for me. I'll have to, early in 2017, I'll come up with my list of goals for 2017, and we'll see, if I can set something that's relatively realistic. As far as the community, like I said, we'll talk about that in the future shows. I do want to mention one specifically that resonated with me, and it was B. Smiddle, and his low light, which I'll just read his post here because I like it. He said, in an era where we've become more connected than ever, the number of smaller niche ID at Xbox games that are coming out with no online multiplayer, couch co-op only. He said, Overcooked is a great example of a game. I'd love to check it out, but I have no interest because my gaming friends are not local. IDARB had some online functionality, but it could really stuck with what that game could if you had full team and online. I share that sentiment 100%. I understand it's difficult to do matchmaking and multiplayer, pay for servers. If you're a small development team, it's so much easier to do couch co-op. But I mean, the Z2Z community is a prime example of that. This group of gamers that we have here, we share very similar tastes in how we like to play games. We'll boost, but we'll play games for real. We've got a variety of games that we're interested in, and we're all looking for achievements. I have much better friendships through this community than I have anywhere in real life over here. I don't have close gaming friends that live by me. Probably my closest gaming friends, some of my high school buddies, they all bought PlayStations. It's like I can talk games, but I can't play with them. I'm really excited that my brother bought an Xbox One S. Like, maybe I'll have an opportunity to game with him and have him locally. I'd listen to David and Jordan at the X1 Bros, those being brothers, and that's how they spend time together. Like, I pretty much don't spend time with my family at all. And I'm really looking forward to this, as this is a way maybe we can connect, and I'll have an opportunity to talk to him. So I do miss that type of online gaming experience, and that's why I want to do this Tuesday night thing. Grab some people from the community. I've had so much fun with Gears, with Koosh, Saucy, and Mantism. Titanfall Thursday, like we've always been talking about. Getting together with this community and just jaw-jacking, having some fun, and still playing games together. I 100% agree with Smiddle on this one. The couch co-op thing, while I understand all the economics behind it, I'm disappointed that more games don't allow us to matchmake and play with our friends who, hey, Tarragon, the friendship that you and I have developed, and I've never even met you, and I don't know if I ever will, because I can't think of when the hell...
sure you know what I look like.
Yeah, when the hell I'm going to get out to Australia. But, the type of relationship that we've developed through just online gaming and this community and everything, it's like, it's awesome. And I want to be able to, game and have those experiences with somebody who's literally on the other side of the world. And I can, because, of games that exist, but there's this growing movement of games that aren't. And that's kind of disappointing. So anyway, that's the only one I wanted to touch on, because that was kind of on my list of lowlights. But so thanks, Smiddle, for that. We gotta, there's still a few on here, and I'm sure by the time this comes out, we'll get some more. I'm hoping we get some more. If you've got some comments in the community as you listen to this, we'd love to hear it, guys. Really, we would. We value all of your opinions, and and we've already mentioned it multiple times, we love this community, and we're so happy to be able to game with you and chat with you and spend time with you in the forums. It's been awesome. So, anything else we got? Let's get why we're here. Achievements, unobtainable and discontinued achievements. Let's just quick fire through these things. What do you got for me?
Well, the Xbox Fitness servers have closed or are about to close or on the verge of closing or on that sort of thing. So a lot of the streaming content that you used to be able to get access to is no longer available, and you're stuck with the content that you have been able to download as they warned. It's about a year ago now? When did they actually put that out? Anyway, it's happened. There is a thread on True Achievements where they're discussing what is available and what is not available as far as achievements go, so that's probably worth keeping an eye on as people test various different things. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. There is a unobtainable in Saturday Morning RPG. There's an achievement called Maze Report that is being reported as unobtainable. And APB Reloaded has some discontinued achievements: Olympic Contender, R&R, and Seasoned Veteran. And a latecomer, which Crandy just added, was Dead Rising 4, Master Journalist. Did you want to go into that?
Yeah, it is currently unobtainable for one of two reasons. Either the co-op, I think the co-op trials do not count for the achievement, and the counter is broken and it gets stuck at 99%. So clearly something, either there's some hidden trial that doesn't trigger, or one is not counting or something, or they put things in the co-op mode that you cannot access. So I think the highest percent you can get in co-op is like 84% or something, and they're separate game modes. So they put things that in the single player you would go outside of the mall to do, but you can't leave the mall in co-op. So they have these things that are still in the game, but you just can't access them because they didn't bother to take them out or something. I don't know.
That's a bummer.
It's sloppy either way.
Yeah. Still, it's a new game. It'll get patched, more than likely.
Yes.
We'll see.
More than likely. So before we wrap this thing up, boy, do we have a review Zed this week? I don't think we do. I think we're taking the week off.
Well,
it's probably a good idea anyway, because it's such a long show. So.
It is a huge show.
We can take the week off. That's fine. We had one planned, but we can.
We'll
resume in the new year.
And you've got upcoming would be the spoiler cast for Burial at Sea.
Burial at Sea, finally.
So that's coming up here in the near future. We got a lot of stuff coming up between, for the end of the year and new in 2017. So, obviously, please keep listening to the show. Before we close this thing out, let's just one kind of final thought on 2016. Prue, why don't you let us know your parting comments on the year?
There's been tremendous kind of commentary on how 2016 was this terrible year, this awful, drudgery, terrible blah of a year, and it's kind of true in a lot of ways. Depending on what your standard is, but if you see current events or however you're looking at things, it's been kind of a tough time, I think, for people, for humanity. I don't know. I'm a little more positive than I think most people are. 2016, yeah, but still, it's still not a landmark year. So I'm grateful for everything that's happened, and I'm very excited about what 2017 is going to bring. Awesome.
Crandy, what about you? Any final thoughts on 2016?
I don't like to do the whole, this is the worst year we've ever had. I don't like that, because it never is. You always think it's the worst year. This is really positive for me. It's weird. So I don't like to do that. Like, yeah, sure, some bad stuff happened, some good stuff happened too. I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to fill in the gap I had that I forgot to fill in my other section. Just to say that it's been a lot of fun being able to work on the podcast, and especially kind of coming in as, I don't know if I can commit to this. I wasn't originally going to be on the show. It's been so much fun doing it, and kind of the opportunities that have come along with it. So, and the community is so fantastic. I love hanging out in the chat room, playing games with everyone, getting the feedback, seeing, the number of people that download the show on a weekly basis. It's really great. So I've enjoyed that very much.
Man, you go see a dentist with how sweet the words are coming out of your mouth.
Oh,
you got cavities. Tarragon, what about you, buddy?
You gotta rain on something. Play some rainy noise or something.
I guess I just have to echo those sentiments. It's been a really good experience with the podcast as a rule, and the community. It's been it's been a clear highlight for the entire year, is just being able to build this thing up from where it began to where it is now, and all of the people that I've met along the way, and all of the things that we have going. So it's been great. As far as 2016 goes, it's felt a bit more like an average kind of year. I don't think it's been particularly bad or good. I've certainly had worse years. So it's the podcast has really been a big highlight, and I was going to get into that on another show, which we will. But
we absolutely will.
This has certainly been the best thing that's going on, I think.
And for me, if you didn't glean it from everything I've said, this actually is probably one of the best years of my life. With everything that's gone on with my kids, my health, my podcast, my new friends, my old friends, my relationships, everything that is going on in my life is very, very good. And I'm excited about it. I can turn a deaf ear to all the garbage and the static that's going on in the world. You want to be a part of it. You want to understand what's going on, because that does shape the reality that you live in today. But I choose to have a positive outlook. I embrace all the wonderful, beautiful things in life, all the love and support and everything that we've got in this community. And with the people that are close to me. That is what I hold on to. That is what I cherish, and I could not be happier with my location and my lot in life right now. So thank you, everybody who's contributed to that. All the hosts, all you guys, all of the community members who listen, who download, who send tweets, who send Facebook messages, who spread the word through social media. Every one of you who does their part to help the show, to help the community, to help gaming, bridge the gap between the PlayStation owners, the Xbox owners, all across the world. It is a beautiful thing, and I'm so happy with everything that we have. So with that, let's close out 2016. Let's close out this show. It's not the end of shows for 2016. I've mentioned it before, but it is the end of our regular recordings. So if you listened, if you liked everything we've done in this year, we have every intention of making it bigger, better, and more awesome in 2017. And if it's not, it's at least going to be at least be as good as 2016. But to help us, we ask you for your support. We ask you to continue to spread the word. To rate us on whatever podcast app you're listening to. Let people know about it. Continue to tell people about what an awesome community we have. Let's get more people involved and get this thing to grow. And meet some new friends and have some new great experiences. Of course, our website, zed2zed.com, links to our show notes, credits, things that we've talked about. Contact Twitter at Zed2Zed, ZEDTOZED. We've got that email address, contact@zed2zed.com. Our forums, forum.zed2zed.com. That's where the community events and contests are. And of course, our Discord channel. Come chat with us. We are there all the time. Weekends may be a little slow, but boy, during the week, it is a chatty group and hilarity ensues. Bring your haikus and throw those into the new location. Of course, I want to thank all the tools that help us make this: Libsyn, Discord, Trello, Twitter, Discourse, Zencaster, Skype. Thank you so much for providing tools for us. TrueAchievements.com. And all the other dedicated achievement sites that help provide content for the show. Games Media, you know who you are, and you've helped out a ton. I appreciate that. And finally, Microsoft, continue to keep this momentum building. 2017 could be the most amazing year for Xbox and Microsoft. And so please continue the trajectory that we've seen so far. I want to see Scorpio in all of its glory. I hope you guys can nail the launch of that. And thank you so much for maintaining these awesome things called achievements, because they are so much fun to go for. So on behalf of Prue, Crandy, Tarragon, and this has been Brandon, and to all of you achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening. Have an awesome 2017. We hope you enjoyed 2016, and we will see you next episode.
See you later, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Happy New Year.
I finally got a random to-do list achievement tonight, just before recording. It's not Oblivion. Sorry to disappoint you.
Come on, it's so easy.
I wish I could play video games.
No, NCAA Basketball 09 March Madness Edition.
Nice. Pulling out the classics.
Yeah,
Yep.
I hope
For a whole whopping 4 achievements.
In the game? In like total?
Yeah, in total 4 achievements.
Wow, that's crazy.
Hope you're
200
sending
points.
those players royalty checks.
Well, I didn't pay for it,
Royalty checks.
so. And they're college; they don't get any money; they just get their tuition paid for.
Yep.
I'm
And free
sending
cars.
the NCAA royalty checks. If I was actually buying their game with my money, which I was not. I was buying it with Warren's money.
That's the best way to buy games, is with other people's money.
It is.
Especially Warren's money.
Yes. Warren's money is particularly good for buying games. I've got a story about punching. So, this was a long time ago now, but a bunch of my friends and I were just like, hey, we should just, like, box each other in the backyard. So we did.
We got a private fight club.
We got hockey helmets and hockey gloves and just fought each other in the backyard. Turns out I don't know how to punch, but I can get punched a lot without going down. I did learn that.
I'd be curious now that I kickbox, like if I could actually hold my own in a fight.
With a kangaroo?
Well, with anything. I'd like to start with like babies or children, and then work my way up to kangaroos.
Start with like kiwi birds and
Don't you?
work up to koalas.
Kiwi bird's my
wombats.
favorite bird. Did you know that?
Wait.
No, I did not know that. Why are they your favorite bird?
Favorite bird.
That's fascinating, Frank. Tell me more.
Oh, man.
You know what my
Why
favorite
kiwis?
animal is? Favorite animal is the
Kiwi bird?
capybara. No, capybara, nature's Twinkie.
They're just like
The capybara is that thing that doesn't exist, isn't it?
They're like
No,
those big rats.
that's the that's the chupacabra. Yeah, no, the
right.
capybara is nature's Twinkie. Literally everything eats it, and it has no
the
defense.
capybara. That's the biggest
The
rodent.
world's
isn't it?
largest
Yeah.
rodent. Yeah, it gets eaten by snakes, vultures, coyotes, all sorts of everything eats it.
I got to
Piranha
pet a
USS.
capybara this summer. There's-
Well,
Yeah.
it is basically like a big guinea pig.
Giant Twinkie.
Yeah, they're very wiry. They're not soft.
No, yeah, their hair is gross.
Yeah, it is. I can confirm.
Okay.
Like it
They
it
also
looks
had
fuzzy, but
kangaroos.
it's not.
No, the important question is, what's the meat like?
I don't know.
Look at their teeth. Did you see their teeth? Oh, God. It's
They're so
terrifying.
funny though. They're
They're
not.
hilarious.
Look one with its
Best.
mouth open and then tell me it's not scary anymore.
No.
Wait, did
They're
you say
just like-
lick its mouth?
No, I said look at it with its mouth
Oh,
open.
look at it. I'm getting intimate with that. And then M says, have to think on this, but I challenge the host to sum theirs up in haiku form. It'd be a fun challenge and cut down on the recording time. So I think that question... I just had a terrifying experience. Went upstairs, and my entire upstairs is totally dark. Except with the Christmas trees on, right? So there's some light. But I start walking to go to use the bathroom, and I get about 3 steps away from the basement door, and just to the left is the kids' playroom. And there is there's a toy that my daughter has. It's a My Little Pony doll, and it talks. And so it's going, "Yep. Yep." Yep. And I'm like looking around, I'm like, dude, it's dark in here. Like, what is that? Yep. Yep. I'm like, okay. So then I walk over, and I'm like, it's her arm. If it bends in the wrong way, like it can go off. And so I'm like, okay. So I walk over and I flip on the light in the den there, and she stops talking. And I'm like, shut up. Like, what is going on? And the room's clean, right? And so I can't see where it is. I was hoping to, hear it and go. I'm like, okay. Maybe I, jostled it when I stepped over here. So I turn the light back off, and I go walk toward the kitchen. Yep. Yep.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm like, I got this just chill down my spine, like, oh my god, I'm going to turn around and puppet master My Little Pony's going to come and slash my Achilles, and then I'm going to get murdered and I can't finish the podcast. So then I went in and I flipped the light on.
That's clearly the worst possible thing that could be happening.
Absolutely. And the most likely to happen. So I went in and, I just stuck my hand in there and just mangled them all. And I'm like, okay, everybody's arms down. You guys laying on top. We're done with this. So if mid-show I start screaming, it's because an army of My Little Pony dolls came down here to murder me. Gosh.
That's awesome.
Oh, man. I mean, hairs on my neck are standing up. It was like, it was so unsettling.
Is it the case with those that when their batteries start to go flat, they start to just misfire? And
I don't know, because it's not solar powered, that's for sure, or light triggered. So
we had a release with, it was like with a beer, like you'd buy a case of beer or whatever, and you get this. It's essentially a cricketer, so it's like a classic cricketer, but it had a little voice box in it and would just say random things. And it was actually timed to when certain cricket matches were going on, it would be more chatty and things like that, or make comments about the match or whatever. And they were really sought after for a while, and then they slowly, people had them, and then the batteries started going flat. And so after a while, they just started saying these really random things 4 o'clock in the morning and just scaring the absolute crap out of people. And it got really strange. I bet. They're a funny thing.
They must have just really not liked Baller Beats or something.
Which is fair, to be fair.
It is. I mean, that's...
So embarrassed by it.
They can sell it to Big Ben now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Big Ben Baller Beats.
Nice. That's a good one.
Yup. Yup. Yup.